The onlookers were stunned. Too strong. The Lord of Skywave Prefecture is terrifying. I feel like his casual punch could kill me. Swordsman is also strong. He was able to fight him to a draw for now. Everyone had gleaming eyes as they stared at the two. They knew both sides had just made tentative attacks, so they had not used their full strength. Nobody noticed the two figures that were standing in the air near the battlefield and watching the fight. They were Lung Rushuang and her sister. Big brother is quite powerful, her sister said. Powerful, Lung Rushuang replied with cold eyes. For someone that is only in the profound Yang Void realm, his battle strength is good. Compared to others' great acclaim, Lung Rushuang thought Jian Wushuang's performance was just good. While standing above the area, Jian Wushuang and the Lord of Skywave Prefecture both stabilized their body and looked at each other. Good. No wonder you dared to challenge me. You do indeed possess some strength. Lord of Skywave Prefecture stared at Jian Wushuang in the same way he would look at his prey. As a lord of a prefecture, you haven't shown your full strength, right? Show it, or it will be boring for me to attack you, Jian Wushuang said casually. Lord of Skywave Prefecture had shown his scary strength in the fierce confrontation. He had comprehended origin of all beasts and origin of raging fire, reaching the peak of momentum. He also could activate 90% of origin of heaven and earth. The Lord of Skywave Prefecture was not weaker than him in the enlightenment of the origin. His attack was violent and strong, much stronger than an ordinary half-saint expert. It was no wonder that he had battle strength of the saint realm and was qualified to be the lord of a prefecture. Jian Wushuang clearly understood that the Lord of Skywave Prefecture had not displayed his real battle strength and that he lived up to his rank on the Blood Moon list. I haven't used my full strength in a long time because no one could make me, but you're qualified, the Lord of Skywave Prefecture said with a faint smile. He took out a pair of red gloves, which were full of scary, mysterious cracks, and slowly put on them. The onlookers could not help but exclaim. The Lord of Skywave Prefecture had fought against Jian Wushuang using his fist, but now he was going to use his gloves. This pair of gloves was his weapon. The Lord of Skywave Prefecture is going to use his full strength. I wonder how strong he is. All the experts looked at him with an expectant look. Jian Wushuang shot a glance at the gloves. He remained calm, but in fact he was a bit worried. Little guy, I hope you can hold on for a while. That way I can have more fun, the Lord of Skywave Prefecture said and grinned. Come on. Jian Wushuang had prepared himself. Boom! Then tracks of flames suddenly appeared in the air, as if the whole sky became a sea of fire. The Lord of Skywave Prefecture looked like flaming war god that was standing in fire. He overlooked the world with his twinkling eyes and roaring killing intent. As he clenched his right fist, the flames directly moved toward his fist at an amazing speed. In an instant, the sea of fire completely gathered in his fist. Go to hell, the Lord of Skywave Prefecture shouted. With a single stride, he appeared in front of Jian Wushuang and immediately threw the powerful punch towards Jian Wushuang's head. In the blink of an eye, the sky split and the ground cracked, as if a dormant volcano had suddenly erupted after billions of years. Jian Wushuang felt as if the furious power could burn the whole world. He is stronger than me in origin of raging fire, Jian Wushuang thought with a serious look. He knew that this punch was 1.5 times stronger than the previous one. As for their strength, even a 10% improvement meant a lot, but the Lord of Skywave Prefecture had improved his power by 50%. If Jian Wushuang still performed the 8th move of Selfless Sword technique, he would be defeated without a doubt. Jian Wushuang was a bit surprised, but he did not panic. As the furious power swept towards him, his scary killing intent suddenly erupted. The ice-cold killing intent chilled the blood of countless experts. All the spectators looked toward Jian Wushuang in awe. The killing intent was too terrifying. As soon as Jian Wushuang lifted the triple-kill sword that was full of roaring killing intent, a towering phantom giant suddenly emerged. The current phantom giant was so condensed that it almost seemed real. As Jian Wushuang swung his sword, the giant also wielded the long sword and launched an attack. Hiss! The stroke seemed to split the sky, leaving a huge crack behind. All the onlookers were stunned by the terrifying stroke. The two powerful forces collided head-on under everyone's gaze. Bang! It sounded like thunder on a sunny day, pricking their ears as they covered them instinctively. Above the area, a series of crashes were heard right before their aftermath struck the ground. Bang! 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 As the earth shook, more and more holes and sword scars suddenly appeared on the ground, as if the area was being destroyed. In the center of the battlefield, the red-faced Jian Wushuang stared at his opponent and his opponent stared back. Slaughter origin? The Lord of Skywave Prefecture's face fell as he said, "You used the scary slaughter sword art. It seems that I looked down on you. You're a bit stronger than I expected." Just a bit stronger? A hint of coldness flashed in Jian Wushuang's eyes. Suddenly, a strong tide of sword essence swept out and covered an area within a 100-meter radius. The Lord of Skywave Prefecture was stuck in the tide. Then the tide of sword essence violently lashed against the Lord of Skywave Prefecture. Hum! The Lord of Skywave Prefecture's expression changed when he felt the tides of sword essence somewhat hindering his movements. A special trick. It looks like domain, but it is not the real thing, the Lord of Skywave Prefecture said coldly. He suddenly withdrew his hand. The next moment, a magic red light gleamed in his hand. The flash of light looked violent and blazing. The moment Jian Wushuang saw it, his heart could not help but skip a beat. The Lord of Skywave Prefecture held the flash of red light and then launched a powerful punch toward Jian Wushuang. "Dragon Howl!" he shouted with a frightening look. Dragon Roar, his strongest skill, was displayed. The huge punch looked ordinary, but when it appeared, flames suddenly filled the sky, converging into a gigantic flaming dragon. With an incredible howl, it rushed toward Jian Wushuang. In an instant, the weather changed and the whole area trembled. Jian Wushuang felt the strength of this flaming dragon, but managed to keep a cool expression. Even ordinary experts of the Saint Realm who saw this powerful move would take it seriously, as did Jian Wushuang. "Try my next stroke." Jian Wushuang spoke. He coldly stared at his opponent, with a roaring killing intent. He slowly slashed out with the triple kill sword, and the phantom giant behind him also attacked. The moment the stroke lashed out, the whole world became dead still. All the onlookers held their breath. Everyone stared at the stroke and shivered in fright. Although they knew they were not the target, they still felt as if they would be killed by it. Quite a few experts were petrified by this stroke. The second move of the blood-emptying technique, Sky-Shaking Stroke. As a superior third-grade sword skill, the blood-emptying technique only had 3 moves, but all the moves were very powerful. The first move of the blood-emptying technique, All-Smashing Stroke, was powerful enough. The second move could release more power than the first one. The stroke could destroy the whole world and exterminate everything. Jian Wushuang had just mastered the second move and had not used it against anyone yet. The Lord of Skywave Prefecture was the first opponent Jian Wushuang attacked using this move. The huge sword shadow collided with the flaming dragon, but the head-on collision did not result in a loud sound. The two forces quietly weakened each other at breakneck speed. Suddenly, a huge fireball moved toward Jian Wushuang, burning his upper clothes and even beginning to burn parts of his upper body. Fortunately, he triggered his spiritual power to extinguish the fire, or he would have been burnt to ash. In fact, the upper part of his body was blackened by the fire, with some parts even being scorched. What a terrifying attack! Jian Wushuang looked at his blackened body and sighed in private. Then he sneered. He might not be in good condition after receiving my strike. Jian Wushuang looked up, towards the Lord of Skywave Prefecture. The latter widened his eyes and spat out a mouthful of blood. The onlookers could not help but exclaim. He spat blood. The Lord of Skywave Prefecture spat blood? One spat blood. The other was burned. What a bitter fight! It was bitter indeed. Many people originally thought the Lord of Skywave Prefecture would win, as he had been famous for longer and should be stronger than the young man. However, now no one dared to think this way. The Lord of Skywave Prefecture wiped off the blood on the corner of his mouth, breathing deeply as he looked toward Jian Wushuang. I took it lightly. I didn't expect your stroke to be full of killing intent. My carelessness gave you an opportunity. I won't let it happen again. Really? Jian Wushuang asked while smiling slightly. Let's fight. The Lord of Skywave Prefecture snarled and launched another attack. With a roaring killing intent, Jian Wushuang prepared to block it. The final battle continued. Bang! 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 The crashes shook the area and the frightening power spread to the ground below. The land changed so much that it was no longer recognizable, yet Jian Wushuang and the Lord of Skywave Prefecture were still locked in a fierce battle. Both of them tried their best, but they could only draw against each other. The onlookers enjoyed it. The tide-like sword realm that Jian Wushuang emanated started to change without any signs. The tide-like sword essence became more turbulent, spreading more widely. After a while, the realm of sword essence had pervaded a radius of more than 1,000 meters. In the sword realm, endless sword essence swept toward the Lord of Skywave Prefecture like a tsunami. What? The Lord of Skywave Prefecture's face changed. Jian Wushuang was ecstatic at this moment. The third move of the sword realm, Sword C. Jian Wushuang mastered the second move of the sword realm a year ago. Then he had studied the third move, which was quite profound. Though he spent a year practicing it, he still felt he had not fully grasped it. He did not expect to comprehend Sword C during this fierce fight. Yet it happened so easily. Experts of the Daluo Heaven sect would go crazy in envy if they knew. After all, the sword realm came from the Daluo Heaven sect. A large number of experts had studied this sword skill in the history of the Daluo Heaven sect, but none of them had mastered the third move, Sword C. Jian Wushuang had only practiced the sword realm for about a year, but now he had mastered Sword C. It was a big surprise for him. Jian Wushuang was somewhat stunned. After coming to his senses, he looked toward the Lord of Skywave Prefecture and spoke in a cold voice. Lord of Skywave Prefecture, it seems that you will die today, Jian Wushuang said. Lord of Skywave Prefecture, it seems that you will die today, Jian Wushuang said. His voice resounded through the area. Then the sea of sword essence swept out toward the Lord of Skywave Prefecture. What's this? The Lord of Skywave Prefecture's expression changed. While he was in the realm of sword essence, he realized he was being suppressed and could only release 70% of his strength. In other words, 30% of his strength was being suppressed by the realm of sword essence. Even the top experts who mastered a domain could only suppress half of my strength. This guy's realm of sword essence is almost as strong as a domain. The Lord of Skywave Prefecture was shocked. Sword Tide had suppressed 10% of his strength. Now it increased to 30%. Not good. The Lord of Skywave Prefecture saw Jian Wushuang rushing over. When 10% of his strength was suppressed, he was barely able to force a draw with Jian Wushuang. Now, with 30% of his strength suppressed, he would not be Jian Wushuang's match. The Sword Realm restricted the Lord of Skywave Prefecture's movement. Using his roaring killing intent, Jian Wushuang struck out with his long sword. It's over, the Lord of Skywave Prefecture thought, but he was unwilling to be killed like this. Even if I will die, I won't make it easy on you, the Lord of Skywave Prefecture thundered. He immediately ate several elixirs that could improve his strength in a short time. These were ordinary elixirs, so the increase in his strength was limited, but he did not care. Now, he pounced toward Jian Wushuang, like a mad, hungry wolf. Useless. Jian Wushuang swung his sword and easily blocked it. After an all-out attack, the Lord of Skywave Prefecture lost his morale, so Jian Wushuang prepared to end this fight. Go to hell! The continuous streaks of sword light pierced through the area, leaving 3 holes on the Lord of Skywave Prefecture's body. The strong man still widened his eyes while falling. Finally, he is dead. Jian Wushuang heaved a sigh of relief. The Lord of Skywave Prefecture was stronger than he thought. If he had not comprehended Sword C during the fight, it would have been much harder for him to kill such a strong person. Regarding comprehension of the origin, sword skill, and magic weapons, I am much stronger than him, but my cultivation is too low, Jian Wushuang sighed in private. The time he spent cultivating wasn't long. With the help of heavenly creation skill and opportunities from the ancestors' land, He had managed to reach the profound Yang Void realm at his age, which was considered incredible. Jian Wushuang stood by the Lord of Skywave Prefecture's body. He waved his hand, took off the loser's interspatial ring, and looked around. The whole area became calm, and the spectators were petrified. When Jian Wushuang began to move toward Heartless City, a burst of exclamation rose from the crowd. He is dead. The Lord of Skywave Prefecture was killed. Swordsman killed the Lord of Skywave Prefecture? Caused a sensation. All the experts were astonished. Man Yen, one of the overlords in the Tang dynasty, had been killed. The news would spread through the whole empire. Very good. Lung Rushuang looked toward Jian Wushuang with a hint of surprise in her eyes. I said he would win this fight, the scruffy girl said with a smile. Okay, now it's over. Shall we go back? Lung Rushuang asked. Nope, the scruffy girl replied while shaking her head. I need to repay him for his help. Repay him, Lung Rushuang said. He is strong enough in the Tang dynasty. As long as he doesn't piss off someone from the top 10 of the Blood Moon list, he won't get into any trouble, so you won't have any chance to repay him. No, I won't go back with you unless I repay him, the scruffy girl said stubbornly. Lung Rushuang thought for a while and said in a low voice, Okay, I will give you 5 days. Then you must return with me, no excuses. Deal. The scruffy girl nodded without hesitation. You stay here. I will go play with him. Then the girl moved toward Heartless City. In the hall of the Heartless Sect, the master of Heartless Sect and the other protectors were congratulating Jian Wushuang. Haha, Protector Swordsman, oh no. We should call you Lord. Right, Lord. That fight startled all of us. A peerless expert who had battle strength equal to the Saint Realm had been killed by Jian Wushuang. Jian Wushuang wore a faint smile. He challenged the Lord of Skywave Prefecture and killed him. From now on, he would become the new Lord of Skywave Prefecture. This was the rule of the Tang dynasty. As the Lord of Skywave Prefecture, he could be considered an overlord in the Tang dynasty. Jian Wushuang suddenly raised his head and looked toward the doorway, where a little head popped out. Who is that? The master of Heartless Sect and the other protectors perceived it and looked towards the doorway. When they saw the scruffy girl of 15 or 16 years old, they had an odd look on their faces. The scruffy girl ignored their attention and stepped inside. After standing beside Jian Wushuang, she winked at him, without saying a word. Jian Wushuang's face changed. He did not have a good impression on the scruffy girl and her elder sister. If not for the scruffy girl, he would not have fought with the Lord of Skywave Prefecture so soon. Why did you come here? Where is your elder sister? Jian Wushuang asked, frowning. I came here for you. I want to play with you. As for my sister, she has her things to do. The scruffy girl replied innocently. Big brother, my name is Lang Rushue. Jian Wushuang looked at the childish girl and said seriously, I don't have time to play with you. Then I can play by myself, the scruffy girl said and snorted. Then she haughtily walked toward the doorway, while throwing a meaningful glance at the other experts. The master of Heartless Sect and the other protectors all had a surprised look on their faces. After the girl left, the master of Heartless Sect could not help but ask, Swordsman, is she your friend? Friend? No, she isn't. Jian Wushuang shook his head. He had met the girl and her elder sister once, so he did not count them as his friends. The girl has a powerful background. Even I'm afraid of the person behind her, Jian Wushuang said. Powerful background? The master of Heartless Sect was surprised. Master, if the girl wants to stay here for several days, please let her do whatever she wants. As long as she doesn't go overboard, just leave her alone, Jian Wushuang said. Upon hearing this, the master of Heartless Sect wore a wry smile. Obviously, they had to treat this girl like a young master. The next day, the renewed Blood Moon list showed that Jian Wushuang ranked 21st, taking the place of Man Yen. The news shook the Tang dynasty. The experts on the list often challenged each other, so their rankings often changed. That was why the Blood Moon list was renewed every day. The rankings on the list often fluctuated between the half-saint experts and experts at the peak of the Yang Void realm. Top 30 of the list consisted of 26 experts of the Saint realm and 4 experts who had the battle strength of the Saint realm. They rarely fought with each other, so their rankings seldom changed. Every change would arouse the attention of the public. Not only many experts of the Tang dynasty, but the old sects of the Nanyang continent kept an eye out for this list. When it was renewed, the old sects immediately knew that swordsman ranked 21st. Holy Emperor Palace also received the news. Swordsman is only in the profound Yang Void realm, but he killed the Lord of Skywave Prefecture in a face-to-face battle. He is young and adept at sword principle. Our Holy Emperor Palace has offered a reward for killing Jian Wushuang. When he was in the initial Yang Void realm, he fought 2 experts of the Saint realm. Moreover, he is good at sword principle. This swordsman from the Tang dynasty is probably Jian Wushuang. We finally found him. Go kill him right now. Holy Emperor Palace issued an order. The next day, 2 figures appeared outside of Heartless City. One of them was a fat middle-aged man. He wore a mild smile while standing beside the other respectfully. Sir Tan Feng, Heartless City is not far from us. Our target is there right now, the middle-aged man said reverently. A bald elder stood there with a cold look. He did not emanate any aura as if he was air. Divine transcendence. This bald elder was a true expert of the Saint realm. Anyone that heard his name would be shocked. Tan Feng ranked 9th on the Blood Moon list. He reached divine transcendence 100 years ago and had already mastered a domain. Swordsman poses a threat to our Holy Emperor Palace. Sir, he is powerful, so you need to use your full strength to kill him. Don't give him any chances, the middle-aged man added. It's not a big deal to kill him. Tan Feng narrowed his eyes and nodded. I care more about the thing Holy Emperor Palace promised to give me after killing him. Don't worry, sir. As long as you kill him, our palace will offer you the superior 3rd-grade magic weapon and the superior 2nd-grade origin manual you want. The middle-aged man replied with a smile, but he was somewhat reluctant in his heart. There had been friction between the Holy Emperor Palace and the alchemy school. The latter kept an eye on the top experts from the palace, so they could not kill Jian Wushuang by themselves and had to turn to Tan Feng for help. After all, the superior 3rd-grade magic weapon and superior 2nd-grade origin manual were also important for Holy Emperor Palace. Since it's decided, let's go, Tan Feng said. They moved fast and immediately arrived in the area over Heartless City. This is the lair of the Heartless sect. Swordsman is there. Sir, let's do it. The middle-aged man spoke. Tan Feng nodded. Just as he was about to descend, he suddenly stopped. That is, a flash of light caught his attention. He instantly saw a beautiful figure standing above a tower. The figure also coldly looked in his direction. Sir, what's wrong? The middle-aged young man asked. Wait a minute. Tan Feng frowned and replied seriously. I didn't expect her to be here. She? The middle-aged man also frowned. Tan Feng's expression became a bit unnatural. She was Lung Rushuang. She was powerful and ranked 1st on the Blood Moon list. Tan Feng did not know Lang Rushuang's real strength, because he did not have the guts to fight with her. Sir, hurry up, the middle-aged young man said. Shut up. Tan Feng scolded him and thought. She came here for swordsman? Does she have some kind of relationship with him? If I kill him, will I be courting death? Tan Feng was not sure why Lung Rushuang came here, so he did not dare to take action. Lung Rushuang was standing there, like the 9th heaven goddess. Then she looked away from the bald elder. An expert of the Saint realm came for swordsman? Lung Rushuang murmured. Then she moved toward Jian Wushuang's courtyard. At this moment, Jian Wushuang was practicing his swordsmanship, while Lung Rushua was sitting on the stone stool and eating a chicken leg, with her mouth covered in grease. Whoosh! A gust of wind blew and the whole yard immediately became cold. Then, Lung Rushuang appeared before their eyes. Jian Wushuang stopped and looked at Lung Rushuang. Elder sister, why are you here? Lung Rushua asked while putting down the chicken leg. Lung Rushuang ignored her sister and looked toward Jian Wushuang. An expert of the Saint Realm has arrived. He should be here for you. An expert of the Saint Realm? Here for me. Jian Wushuang frowned. Holy Emperor Palace? Jian Wushuang realized that Holy Emperor Palace would find him once he became famous in the Tang dynasty. After all, a sword principal warrior who was in the profound Yang Void Realm and could kill Man Yen could only be him. But he did not expect that Holy Emperor Palace would move so quickly. The day after the news that he ranked 21st spread, experts from Holy Emperor Palace had arrived to kill him. I know the Saint Realm expert. He is Tanfeng and ranks 9th on the list. He has also mastered domain. If he wants to kill you, you won't have any chance to escape, Leng Rushuang said coldly. Tanfeng? Jian Wushuang recalled the introduction about Tanfeng in the Blood Moon list. His face grew solemn. Then he looked toward Leng Rushuang and asked, "What do you want to say? My sister likes playing around, but she's too weak to protect herself. If I let her do whatever she wants in the Tang dynasty, I'm afraid that she would be chased by someone like last time. So I'd like to hire a guard for her," Leng Rushuang answered. "You want me to be her guard?" Jian Wushuang said. "Your strength is good. I think you're qualified for this job. As long as you promise to be my sister's guard for 5 years, I will help you kill the expert of the Saint Realm. Moreover, I can ensure that no one dares to challenge you. What do you think?" Leng Rushuang's voice was still cold. Upon hearing this, Leng Rushue widened her eyes, expectantly staring at Jian Wushuang. "Sorry, I refuse." Jian Wushuang shook his head without even thinking. He disliked hiding under someone else's shelter. Therefore, even though Wang Yuan invited him, he did not go to the alchemy school, let alone stay with Leng Rushue for 5 years. Even if it only took him 5 days or a few months, Jian Wushuang would not accept it. "In that case, you will have to find your own way of dealing with Tanfeng," Leng Rushuang said. "I never depend on anyone," Jian Wushuang replied coldly. Then he walked out of the yard. 2 people had been waiting there. Tai Shan and Mo Ying. Jian Wushuang spoke seriously. "I'm leaving here. If there is an opportunity, I'll come back. Please help me tell the other protectors." Then Jian Wushuang immediately left. Tai Shan and Mo Ying were surprised and could not figure out why their first protector left so abruptly. Tanfeng immediately perceived that Jian Wushuang was trying to escape. "He wants to run away," Tanfeng said in a low voice. "Sir, what are you waiting for? Go kill him." The middle-aged young man spoke anxiously. "No, wait a moment." Tanfeng shook his head and stared in the direction of Leng Rushuang. "She should know that I came for swordsman. I don't know what relationship swordsman has with her. If I try to kill swordsman, will she stop me?" Tanfeng still had some concerns, because Leng Rushuang was much more powerful than him. At this moment, he saw Leng Rushuang leave with Leng Rushue. Tanfeng raised his brows. "She didn't come to stop me or give me any warnings. That means she won't protect swordsmen." Tanfeng was immediately relieved. Then a blast of powerful aura spread out. "Swordsman, I'm here. Where are you going? Do you think you can run away?" A cold, loud voice resounded through the sky. Tanfeng suddenly rushed towards Jian Wushuang. The voice shook the whole city. Who wants to kill Protector Swordsman?" Many experts of the Heartless sect shot up into the sky. They immediately saw 2 figures moving in the distant sky. One was Swordsman, and the other was a bald elder, who was exuding a roaring aura. The Saint Realm, a real Saint Realm expert. He is Tanfeng, ranked 9th on the Blood Moon list. He is hunting swordsmen. A burst of exclamations went up throughout the city. What's going on? The master of Heartless sect and the other protectors gathered and watched it with a terrible look on their faces. He just killed Man Yen, now Tanfeng came. Tanfeng is much stronger than Man Yen. The experts of Heartless sect were anxious for Jian Wushuang, but they did not have the strength to step in, so they could do nothing. Now only Leng Rushuang could help Jian Wushuang, but she did not want to. "Elder sister, you really won't save Big Brother?" Leng Rushue asked pathetically. "He didn't want my help. Why should I save him?" Leng Rushuang replied coldly. "But Big Brother helped me. I owe him a favor," Leng Rushue continued. That's you, not me, Leng Rushuang said. Elder sister. Leng Rushue got angry. Fine, don't worry about him. Leng Rushuang glanced at her sister and said, I know he is not ordinary. Tan Feng might be stronger than him, but it isn't easy for him to kill your big brother. Oh, Leng Rushue calmed herself down. Jian Wushuang ran quickly, so he immediately reached outside of the city. He also perceived Tan Feng behind him. The bald elder moved forward, emanating waves which spread out over a radius of hundreds of meters. Domain! Jian Wushuang was shocked. As for origin, enlightenment, momentum, and domain were totally different. An expert who achieved domain would be much more powerful than the one who only reached momentum. His father, Jian Nantian, only had half-saint cultivation, but he could kill an expert of the saint realm with one stroke because he had reached domain and controlled it very well. Jian Wushuang was thinking about how to deal with the attacker. An expert of the saint realm who has comprehended domain is much stronger than Man Yen. Based on my strength, I can't have a head-on fight with him. He is much faster than me. It won't take long before he catches up with me. I can't escape. If I want to survive, there are still 3 options. Jian Wushuang was thinking quickly. First, he could turn to Leng Rushuang for help. Leng Rushuang was not far from him. As long as he promised to be her sister's guard, she would save him. The idea just flashed through his mind, but it was immediately overruled by him. Jian Wushuang could not make such a promise. Even though he may die, he was still unwilling to be her sister's guard and nanny for 5 years. Second, he could fight against Tan Feng using soul-devouring secret skill. He could perform the 2nd volume of soul-devouring secret skill. Then with his rising cultivation he could fight Tan Feng, but he might still not win in the end. The third way would cost him too much, so Jian Wushuang did not want to do it, unless he had no way out. Now I have to fight to the death, Jian Wushuang thought, a hint of madness flashing through his eyes. Soul-devouring secret skill. In the blink of an eye, a blast of scary power erupted from his body. Jian Wushuang was still running away, while his body changed into a massive vortex, devouring everything from the surroundings. The natural power rushed toward him at an amazing speed. The ground below became dry and cracked. Trees, grass, and flowers withered. With the help of this natural power, Jian Wushuang immediately improved his cultivation of spiritual power to its limit. Leng Rushuang was a bit surprised at his strength. A special tactic using natural power to improve cultivation? The half-saint realm. With red eyes, Jian Wushuang looked ferocious. He clenched his hands and felt a sharp pain caused by his soaring strength. When he was in the initial Yang Void realm, he improved to the peak of the Yang Void realm after performing the 2nd volume of soul-devouring secret skill. Now he improved to the half-saint realm from the profound Yang Void realm after performing it. With the half-saint cultivation and advantage of heavenly creation skill, Jian Wushuang's strength erupted. He might be a bit stronger than a real expert of the saint realm. Tan Feng! Jian Wushuang ground out, a hint of killing intent flashing in his eyes. He suddenly dashed toward Tan Feng, like a shooting star. He didn't run away? Tan Feng sneered. The waves emanating from him swept toward Jian Wushuang. Jian Wushuang immediately felt as if he had fallen into mud. His body was suppressed, so it was harder for him to perform his swordsmanship. This is domain? Jian Wushuang thought secretly. Domain was powerful indeed. He was stuck in a domain with 60% of his strength suppressed. Instantly, Jian Wushuang unleashed streaks of sword essence, which converged into a vast sea and swept out. Although it was incomparable to domain, it helped him reduce the restraint of the domain. Only 30% of his strength was suppressed. Very special tactic. It's a pity that it isn't strong enough. Tan Feng looked at Jian Wushuang and wore a faint smile. Jian Wushuang exuded his soaring killing intent, his triple-kill sword madly shaking in his hand. A towering phantom giant slowly emerged behind him and wielded his long sword. In an instant, everything trembled. Jian Wushuang performed his strongest move, the 2nd move of blood-emptying technique. Tan Feng sneered. Then he struck a blow to slap at the sword shadow. Bang! The impact made Tanfeng take 3 steps back. Then he stabilized his stance. He could repel me? Tanfeng looked at Jian Wushuang in surprise. Jian Wushuang is young, but he can repel me with a head-on attack. If he practices more, he would be stronger than that. You're young but very powerful. If you fight with the experts of the Saint Realm who has just mastered domain, you might defeat them. What a pity. You're fighting me, Tanfeng said coldly. He stretched his arm with his palm upward. The surrounding waves began to gather in his palm. In an instant, the surrounding domain completely disappeared. The next moment, Tanfeng directly launched an attack. Jian Wushuang let out a snarl and swung his sword to block the palm, with the maximum origin of the world. But the result was, bang! A scary thump, like the thunderbolt, resounded through the sky. Then Jian Wushuang violently shot back like a bomb. He spat out a mouthful of blood and felt as if his viscera had deviated from its original place. He looked pale. Jian Wushuang tried hard to regain his balance. Then he turned around to escape without hesitation. Too strong. I've already performed soul-devouring secret skill and greatly improved my cultivation, but I'm still much weaker than him. The second confrontation made Jian Wushuang lose his morale. He had no choice but to escape. Since I can't fight against him in a head-on confrontation, I can only turn to the last way. Jian Wushuang thought. He was unwilling to use the last method because he would pay a high price for it. It was so big that he did not want to bear it. But now he was on the edge of a precipice. No matter what price I will pay, it's much better than death. Jian Wushuang ground out, biting his lips. He thought he might survive, like a phoenix rising from the ashes. Composed, Jian Wushuang had made up his mind. A cold voice rang out. Swordsman, are you going to fight to the death? Just to be my sister's guard for 5 years. It's much better than death. Upon hearing this, Jian Wushuang glanced at the voice behind, but he just snorted without stopping. Too stubborn. Lung Rushuang stared at Jian Wushuang with a cold look. Big brother. Leng Rushue was worried. Jian Wushuang was chased by Tanfeng. Now they were already far away from Heartless City. Soon after, a lake appeared before Jian Wushuang's eyes. Jian Wushuang had once comprehended world origin by this lake, where he met Leng Rushuang and her sister. His eyes lit up. Then he jumped into the lake. Tanfeng was a bit surprised, but he immediately sneered. You think that I cannot attack you in the lake? Then Tanfeng casually launched an attack. His huge palm violently slapped against the surface of the lake. A large amount of water splashed out, causing the lake to lower its level. Whoosh! Jian Wushuang immediately flew up from the bottom of the lake. Still want to escape? Tanfeng's shout resounded through the whole area. He was less than 1,000 meters away from Jian Wushuang. They were so close that Jian Wushuang was immediately surrounded by the waves Tanfeng emanated. Shit! Jian Wushuang's expression changed. He was originally slower than Tanfeng. Now he was stuck in his domain. As a result, his speed decreased sharply so that Tanfeng almost caught up with him. Brat, go to hell! Tanfeng wore a scary smile while appearing in front of Jian Wushuang. He tried to directly slap Jian Wushuang's head with his deadwood-like hand. At this moment, Jian Wushuang seemed to go mad. He ate several elixirs which could greatly improve his aura. Then he crazily swung his triple-kill sword to block it. Obviously, he was on the edge of a precipice and was struggling for survival. Want to fight back? Tanfeng sneered. He did not put Jian Wushuang in his eyes. In an instant, the power of domain gathered in his palm. Then, boom, boom, boom. He struck 3 blows in quick succession, each of which contained the energy of splitting the heavens. His eyes filled with madness, Jian Wushuang tried his best to block, but he only deflected 2 strikes. He could only watch the 3rd blow relentlessly flash toward his head. Pong! The blow hit Jian Wushuang's forehead. As its power spread, his mouth, eyes, nose, and ears were bleeding. His breath disappeared in the blink of an eye. Eventually, the whole world went still. Tanfeng saw Jian Wushuang lie on the ground. He sneered. Then he waved his hand and took the body interspatial ring and the triple kill sword away. Tan Feng used his blood to bind the ring to him and wanted to find out what Jian Wushuang held in the ring. Tan Feng was a little surprised. Then he grinned. Haha. The boy was quite rich and had so many treasures. That's right. He killed Man Yen and must have grabbed those things from him. Then Tan Feng looked at the triple kill sword. He held it and immediately sensed a stream of powerful killing intent, while the sword was shaking madly as if it was about to leave. Good sword. I've recognized that his long sword is unusual. It's really powerful. It's a second-grade magic weapon, the sword of killing, Tan Feng said with a flicker of delight in his eyes. A second-grade magic weapon was much more precious than all the treasures in the interspatial ring. The superior third-grade magic weapon Holy Emperor Palace promised to give him was not comparable to the triple kill sword. If Holy Emperor Palace goes back on their word and doesn't offer me my reward, I will still have gained a lot with this sword. Tan Feng smiled. Suddenly, a surge of coldness covered the whole place, as if time had stopped. Tan Feng's expression froze. He tried his best to raise his head. A frosty woman in white, beautiful beyond description, was walking toward him. Lung Rushuang. Tan Feng was shocked. He was afraid of her from the bottom of his heart. It was terror indeed. It was true that he was very powerful in the whole Nanyang continent. Few people were his match. Even the strongest experts from some old sects were weaker than him. It seemed that he only held the 3 valleys and 4 temples, alchemy school, and Holy Emperor Palace in awe. But Tan Feng thought that the white-clothed woman was more terrifying than the alchemy school and Holy Emperor Palace. After all, as the super forces, the alchemy school and Holy Emperor Palace had a lot of scruples, so they would not offend an expert of the Saint Realm who mastered domain. Instead, they would try to maintain a friendly relationship with him. As for Lung Rushuang, she only cared about her sister. Moreover, she was powerful, so she could kill anyone at will. Tan Feng recalled an expert who came from the Tianhe Valley and ranked 5th on the Blood Moon list, a bit stronger than him. Lung Rushuang easily killed the expert without hesitation. At that time, Tianhe Valley originally wanted to take revenge for the expert. However, after a month, the Tianhe Valley changed their attitude and even apologized to Lung Rushuang. You killed him and have taken the interspatial ring, but you have to leave the sword, Lung Rushuang said coldly, with a cold look. Tan Feng's face changed. Sword? Triple kill sword. It was a second-grade magic weapon. After a while, Tan Feng let out a sigh and threw the triple kill sword to Lung Rushuang. Since you want it, I can give it to you. Tan Feng did not dare to refuse. He feared that Lung Rushuang would kill him once he said, "No. You can go." After she took the triple kill sword, Lung Rushuang slightly withdrew her aura. Then time began to flow as usual. "I will leave now," Tan Feng said while clasping his hands. He left directly. Lung Rushuang appeared in front of her elder sister and said angrily, "Elder sister, didn't you say that Big Brother would not die? Did you lie to me?" "No, I didn't lie to you." Lung Rushuang shook her head and replied coldly, "He is still alive, but he would have died if Tan Feng had stayed." Alive? Lung Rushuang was shocked, as she had just seen Tan Feng kill Jian Wushuang and take his body away. "Come with me." Lung Rushuang did not explain and moved toward the lake. Lung Rushuang followed her sister. They appeared over the lake and looked downward. After a while, Jian Wushuang showed up in the lake. "Big Brother." Lung Rushuang could not believe it. Who was killed? It was his doppelganger. Lung Rushuang stared at the triple kill sword while saying, "His tactic is unusual indeed. He can use the natural power and has a doppelganger. How powerful he is. We thought he planned to escape under cover of the lake. Actually, the moment he jumped into the lake, he himself was parted from the doppelganger. He also unbound the sword and interspatial ring. Then he let his doppelganger take them and appear before Tan Feng. He gave up his most important magic weapon and all his treasures in order to deceive Tan Feng. He let Tan Feng think that he was dead, so he could have a chance to survive. Like a phoenix, rising from the ashes. He is very decisive. It was known that Lung Rushuang had been as cold as frost. She was so powerful that few things could shock her, but she was surprised by what she saw today. Jian Wushuang was too decisive. In an instant, he gave up all his possessions, including his precious triple-kill sword, and quickly carried out his plan. An ordinary warrior might not be able to act decisively like him. Because of his decisiveness, he could save himself. If Jian Wushuang had not given up his triple-kill sword, Tan Feng would have wondered about the whereabouts of the triple-kill sword after he killed its owner. Tan Feng had recognized that the triple-kill sword was unusual, so he would not leave without it. Then he would go back to look for it and would find Jian Wushuang hiding at the bottom of the lake. Lung Rushuang said Jian Wushuang was resolute, because she saw his determination. She knew that Jian Wushuang would challenge Tan Feng again and take his triple-kill sword back if he could survive. It all came from his confidence in his own strength and talent. At this moment, Jian Wushuang was floating in the lake. He struggled to approach the shore. As soon as he reached the shore, he fell down and fainted. Although his doppelganger had independent consciousness, it was still connected to the true self. Once the doppelganger was killed, the true self would suffer a lot. Moreover, the second volume of soul-devouring secret skill he performed had placed a heavy burden on him. He himself was seriously injured in the fight with Tan Feng. Therefore, he had been on the edge of collapse. It was a miracle that he could hold on till now. Lung Rushuang and Lung Rushue appeared by Jian Wushuang's side. "Big brother." Lung Rushue immediately stooped down and wanted to help him up. Lung Rushuang glanced at Jian Wushuang. Then she waved her hand, a blast of invisible power slowly lifting his body. "Let's go. Bring him back to nature residence. Maybe we can save his life," Lung Rushuang said peacefully. "Okay." Lung Rushue did not refuse to return this time. Then she flew away with her elder sister. A larger number of warriors were waiting for the battle result in Heartless City. "I wonder whether Protector Swordsman can escape from Tan Feng's hands. I think he could. Our Protector Swordsman has the battle strength of the Saint Realm. Maybe he could not fight against Tan Feng, but he is able to run for his life." "I don't think so. Tan Feng has mastered domain. He is much stronger than Man Yen." Many experts of the Heartless sect were waiting above the void. They originally wanted to follow Jian Wushuang and Tan Feng, but they did not have an opportunity because Jian Wushuang and Tan Feng were too fast. Soon after, an old figure appeared before their eyes. He was Tan Feng. "We know the result." They all looked at Tan Feng. Whoosh! The fat middle-aged man from Holy Emperor Palace appeared by Tan Feng's side and asked with a smile, "Sir, how did it go? Since I dealt with such a nobody personally, what do you think?" Tan Feng gave a faint smile. "You mean he is dead?" The middle-aged man's eyes lit up. Tan Feng did not explain. He waved his hand, the corpse of Jian Wushuang, appearing in front of them. Many experts' face fell after watching this. In contrast, the middle-aged man became excited. He exclaimed, "Ha! Jian Wushuang. This is him indeed. This guy and his father posed a threat to our Holy Emperor Palace. Though his father is more dangerous, the boy has infinite potential. If given several years, he would catch up with his father. Now we have killed him. Sir, thanks for your help," the middle-aged man said gratefully. "Don't forget the things you promised to me." Tan Feng smiled and looked at the middle-aged man. "Sir, don't worry. Our Holy Emperor Palace pays more attention to our reputation than those two things." The middle-aged man nodded in delight. The big news soon spread through the Skywave Prefecture. Swordsman, who had just taken the place of Man Yen, was killed by Tan Feng. It was believable because Tan Feng had displayed his corpse in front of many people. The whole Skywave Prefecture sighed with emotion for this peerless genius. The next day, the Blood Moon list was renewed. The name of Swordsman was removed on the list, which also proved that Jian Wushuang was dead. This was a quiet bamboo forest. There was a lake deep in the forest. A delicate bamboo house stood by the lake. Jian Wushuang was lying on a bamboo bed in the house, while Lung Rushuang and Lung Rushue stood by his side. Lung Rushuang glanced at Jian Wushuang. Then she slightly waved her hand. Instantly, A blast of white fog emerged and entered the young man's body through his pores. However, shortly after, the white fog was devoured by a great power in his body. "What?" Lung Rushuang said, a hint of shock flashing through her beautiful eyes. She was just a bit surprised at what Jian Wushuang did to save himself. Few things could make her surprised in the whole Nanyang continent. But now Lung Rushuang was stunned. "Elder sister, what's wrong?" Lung Rushue looked toward her elder sister and asked. "My icy heart force was devoured by him," Lung Rushuang replied seriously. "How is it possible?" Lung Rushue was petrified. She knew icy heart force was very powerful, so she could not believe it was devoured by someone. "I originally wanted to heal him using my icy heart force. I didn't expect that his spiritual power was so strong that it could suppress my icy heart force," Lang Rushuang said in a low voice. "It's his cultivation method, which is very special and powerful." "Powerful? Is your icy heart manual weaker than it?" Lung Rushue asked in surprise. "I don't know." Lung Rushuang stared at Jian Wushuang. She had never cared about Jian Wushuang before, but now, she was somewhat curious about him. "His cultivation method could devour my icy heart force. Then isn't he able to remove my icy heart poison?" Lung Rushuang thought. Now she looked at Jian Wushuang with some expectation. Lung Rushuang said, "He is unusual. When we brought him back, he was dying. We didn't give him any elixir on the way home. Now he's much better than before. His healing ability is far superior to an ordinary warrior. He doesn't need any external assistance and should wake up soon." "Big brother is so strong?" Lung Rushue said with a surprised look. Lung Rushuang glanced at her sister and said, "You stay here to look after him." Then Lung Rushuang left the house. 3 days passed in the blink of an eye. Jian Wushuang eventually regained consciousness. He opened his eyes. The first person he saw was a red-robed girl. The girl was extremely beautiful and somewhat mischievous. She was looking at him with her sparkling big black eyes. "Big brother, are you okay?" The red-robed girl was worried and asked him, "You are Leng Rushue?" Jian Wushuang looked at the red-robed girl in surprise. The red-robed girl was Leng Rushue indeed. Previously, Leng Rushue was scruffy and looked like a little beggar, but now, she was pretty. "Where am I?" Jian Wushuang looked around. He found himself in a bamboo room, with pieces of simple furniture made of bamboo. "This is nature residence, where my elder sister lives. You're lucky. After my sister built this house, you're the first one that has come here, except for me and my father," Leng Rushue replied with a big smile. "Nature residence?" Jian Wushuang slowly sat up. The moment he moved, he immediately felt a sharp pain. His face was distorted. "Phew!" Jian Wushuang breathed out deeply. "I'm seriously injured this time." He suffered a lot indeed. If he had been an ordinary warrior, he would have died already. He was stronger than an ordinary warrior because his body was remolded with heavenly creation skill. The nature-defying cultivation method also helped him recover. "Big brother, let me take you for a walk," Leng Rushue said. "My name is Jian Wushuang. You can call me Big Brother Wushuang," Jian Wushuang said gently. "Okay, Big Brother Wushuang." Leng Rushue smiled and supported him to walk outside. After stepping outside, Jian Wushuang looked around. Everything came into view. Suddenly, a sound of nature came out from the bamboo forest ahead. Jian Wushuang was surprised and immediately looked toward the source of the sound. He saw a beautiful white-clothed woman sitting under a curved tree by the lake. A Chinese zither carved with a dragon phoenix pattern was placed in front of her. She was plucking at the strings of it with her fair fingers. The mellow melody spread out. It sounded fantastic. It was as melodious as the sound of water drops falling into a pool in the deep mountain, and as pure as the bright moon which was not covered by clouds. It was wonderful. Jian Wushuang heard the melody. He stood there like a fool, but he felt a sense of calm as if the whole world was tranquil. A flow of invisible origin energy emanated from his body. Origin energy could shake the heaven and earth. In an instant, the whole area was full of origin energy. The origin energy was considered world origin. Jian Wushuang was absorbed in the melody, so he did not know what happened around him. He did not perceive that a large amount of world origin appeared and slowly spread out at this moment. After a while, world origin covered an area over a radius of 1,000 meters, including the whole bamboo forest. The world origin slowly combined with each other, forming a complete, powerful domain. Jian Wushuang quietly reached the second level of origin enlightenment domain. The wonderful melody went on. Jian Wushuang lost his sense of time. It seemed transient, but he felt as if he had been there his whole life. Eventually, as the last note was heard, the beautiful melody stopped, but Jian Wushuang was still immersed in it. After a long period of time, he finally came to his senses and opened his eyes. When he found himself surrounded by domain, he immediately froze with shock. Domain? Shocked, Jian Wushuang stared at the origin domain that surrounded him. Using his will, he made the domain start to rapidly shrink, then suddenly expand. Finally, he made it fade away as he turned over his hand. It really is domain. I mastered it. But how could this be possible? Jian Wushuang couldn't believe that he really did it. He was quite excellent at comprehending the origin, but there was still a gap separating him and the origin domain. According to his thoughts, it would take him at least 1 year to master it. But now, inexplicably, he reached the domain realm without any effort in comprehending it. Not only had he comprehended the origin, he also had a large improvement in his cultivation. Exceptional Yang Void Realm. While clenching his hands, he could feel a surge of power from his improved cultivation. Even though he was injured and could not use it at this moment, he made it to the exceptional Yang Void Realm from the profound Yang Void Realm. He had only recently made it to the profound Yang Void Realm, and at the moment he exited the room, he was definitely still in the profound Yang Void Realm. In only an instant, he had become much stronger. It had to be the melody. Yes, the melody. Jian Wushuang looked at Lung Rushuang with a serious face. He finally realized that it was the music that had helped him progress so much in such a short time. That music had such an incredible effect. Who is she really? His eyes were fixed on Lung Rushuang, but Jian Wushuang was not overjoyed by his progress. On the contrary, he felt an extreme horror that he had never felt before, a horror that almost felt like it would make his heart burst. It was so terrifying. She enhanced his strength so much in a short while with her music. What kind of method was this? How frightening was the person who played this melody? Jian Wushuang even thought that his adventures in the ancestors' land was nothing when compared with listening to this music. Ha! Big brother Wushuang, how do you feel now? Lung Rushua, who was standing next to him, looked at Jian Wushuang with a grin and said, "There is nothing more precious than the music my sister plays." Nothing more precious? Jian Wushuang secretly nodded. It was indeed precious. At least, Jian Wushuang had never heard of anyone who could enhance others' power by playing an instrument. Lung Rushuang put away the Chinese zither, then stood up and walked towards Jian Wushuang. Jian Wushuang felt a bit timid as he watched Lung Rushuang walk towards him. It was because she was frighteningly strong. The only thing he knew about her was from the introduction on the Blood Moon list, which said that she was unfathomably strong with a mysterious background. Jian Wushuang had no idea of her strength until just now when he personally experienced it. It was far more than just frightening. She was unimaginably strong. You saved my younger sister before, and I saved you this time. We're even. You'll have a month to recover from your injuries here before you have to leave, said Lung Rushuang, shooting him a glance before going back to the room. Unbelievable. I never thought that sister would allow you to stay here for a month, Lung Rushua oddly said. Jian Wushuang smiled faintly. He felt that even though Lung Rushuang was still indifferent to him, she was not holding herself aloft anymore. Big brother Wushuang, please stay here and recover over next month at ease. You can even listen to my sister's music when you're free. Others could never get such a chance, Lung Rushua said and smiled. Jian Wushuang agreed with her. It was hard for him to walk now, since he was badly injured, let alone leave here by himself. Moreover, he didn't intend to leave now. He was so curious about the melody Lung Rushuang had played. The next day, Jian Wushuang had recovered a little bit. So, during the morning, he listened to Lung Rushuang play her Chinese zither again. The melody was rising and falling as if there was magic power in it. Though it was a new song, the moment he heard the sound, Jian Wushuang immediately found himself settling into a peaceful state that he had never felt before, and he could see the origin surrounding him more clearly, comprehend it more efficiently. Even with only sword soul, he could comprehend the origin at an amazing speed. Now, with help from the music as well, he was able to do it 100 times faster than before. 100 times faster. What did this mean? If he could continue comprehending like this, he would progress 100 times faster. It was unbelievable. More than that, he also gained spiritual power faster here with the help than he did outside. What a great opportunity! A chance like this is as important and helpful as the ancestors' land. Jian Wushuang's eyes were glittering. But I only have 1 month, so I should not waste a single day. After learning about the benefits of the music, Jian Wushuang did not miss any chance to listen to Lung Rushuang play. Sometimes he even picked a piece of bamboo, using it like a sword, and practiced his sword skill while listening to the music. Lung Rushuang played the Chinese zither every day, and Jian Wushuang would listen to her every time. While she played, he listened or practiced his sword skills. From the beginning to the end, neither of them ever talked to each other. In a flash, 1 month had passed. Under the crooked tree, as the white-clothed girl suddenly stopped playing the Chinese zither, the melody that resounded through the bamboos slowly died away. Jian Wushuang, who had been practicing his swordsmanship in front of the girl, stopped as well. 1 month has passed. It's time for you to leave, the white-clothed girl said while looking at Jian Wushuang coldly. Time to leave. Jian Wushuang sighed and was a bit reluctant to leave. He had benefited a lot from the music, progressing incredibly and steadily during the past month. If possible, he really wanted to stay longer. But he could not. I've made great progress during the past month, so I should be satisfied, Jian Wushuang thought. Then he looked at Lung Rushuang and said, Thanks so much for the past month. It was his heartfelt appreciation. Lung Rushuang had indeed helped him so much during the past month. You practiced your swordsmanship, I played my zither. There is nothing to thank me for. Glancing at Jian Wushuang, Lung Rushuang said in a cold voice, You should thank it. Lung Rushuang turned her hand over and a long sharp sword appeared. Triple kill sword. Once it appeared, Jian Wushuang stared at it. It was his weapon, so he certainly recognized it. To survive Tan Feng's chase, he had abandoned the triple kill sword and all of his belongings. He planned to take them back when he was strong enough to defeat Tan Feng. He didn't expect the triple kill sword to be in Lung Rushuang's possession. I took it back from Tan Feng for you. After saying that, Lung Rushuang threw it to Jian Wushuang. After catching it and gripping it firmly, Jian Wushuang began stroking the cold sword edge. At the same time, the triple kill sword seemed to be shaking violently, in a cheerful manner. Suddenly, Jian Wushuang's face changed. Its power. After holding it, he felt that the triple kill sword's power had increased by a large margin. It was originally a medium second-grade magic weapon, but now, it is a good sword. Since it's the embryo for a sword of killing, it still has room for improvement. Lung Rushuang glanced at Jian Wushuang and said, I noticed sword spirit was damaged when I took it back, so I restored its power using some special means and it upgraded. Now it is a first-grade magic weapon. She spoke like it was something simple, but Jian Wushuang was shocked when he heard what she said. First grade? A first-grade magic weapon? Feeling the power of the triple kill sword, Jian Wushuang was dumbstruck. Weapons are classified into 3 grades. The 3rd grade is normal, the 2nd grade is spiritual, while the 1st grade is masterful. On the Nanyang continent, even a 3rd-grade magic weapon is rare. Even experts of the Saint Realm would be eager to get one. The Holy Emperor Palace offered a superior 3rd-grade magic weapon as a reward for capturing Jian Wushuang and Jian Nantian, which attracted a lot Saint Realm experts. There were only a few 2nd-grade magic weapons on the Nanyang continent. Only top sects like the Alchemy School and the Holy Emperor Palace might have them. As for 1st-grade magic weapons, They only existed in legends on the Nanyang continent. Even the alchemy school or the Holy Emperor Palace might not have one. But now, Jian Wushuang's triple kill sword had upgraded to a first-grade magic weapon? Within only a month, Lang Rushuang had restored the triple kill sword's full power and even upgraded it to the first grade. Jian Wushuang took a deep breath. Then he looked at Lang Rushuang earnestly. The longer he stayed with Lang Rushuang, the more unfathomable he felt she was. Whether it was the incredible melody she played that could speed up comprehension of origin and spiritual power, or her ability to upgrade the triple kill sword, both implied that Lang Rushuang had exceptional strength. He was curious about Lang Rushuang's background, but he knew better than to ask. Your sword had been upgraded to a powerful first-grade weapon, so you need to be careful. If it's not necessary, do not use it. Lang Rushuang's voice was still cold as she said, I will give you a sword. Although it is only a superior third-grade magic weapon, it's enough for daily use. Moving her hand again, a purple flowing light appeared. It was a purple longsword that resembled the triple kill sword in both shape and size. However, it was far less powerful. While looking at the purple longsword, Jian Wushuang thought it was strange. Not the purple longsword, but the person who gave it to him, Lang Rushuang. She has been giving him the cold shoulder from the very beginning. Yet now, she is suddenly treating him so well. Not only did she reclaim his triple kill sword and upgrade it, she also gave him another magic weapon. When did this lady, that causes everyone else to feel fear, become so nice? Though he was confused, he took a deep breath and said seriously, I owe you a favor. If you need my help someday, I will do my best. During this month of cultivation, he had improved a lot while listening to her play the zither. Now, she even gave him the triple kill sword and the purple longsword. Though he didn't know what she wanted, he still felt grateful. I do need your help, but not now. You are not strong enough yet. I will look for you once you meet the requirement. At that time, you will definitely help. After all, I rarely need help from others. Lang Rushuang said coldly. Sister, send him away. Lang Rushue quickly walked out of the room. Big brother Wushuang, follow me, said Lang Rushue as she led Jian Wushuang out. Jian Wushuang followed Lang Rushue and walked out of the woods. Once they made it to the perimeter, Lang Rushue took out a jade token and handed it to Jian Wushuang. Big brother Wushuang, take it. Maybe you will need it, Lang Rushue said. What's this? Jian Wushuang looked at it curiously. He got along with Lang Rushue during his month-long stay in the nature residence, so he had no longer had any prejudice or dissatisfaction with these sisters. You will understand, Lang Rushue said and smiled. Jian Wushuang shrugged. Then he folded his hands, bowed and said, See you. Afterwards, Jian Wushuang quickly disappeared in the void out of the woods. Lang Rushue returned to the woods and went to Lang Rushuang. Hee, sister, you played the nature melody for a whole month, and you even played the icy heart melody once. Many supreme experts have offered a high price, but they didn't even get to hear it once. Lang Rushue smiled lightly, then asked in a joking voice, Are you interested in him? You're thinking too much. Lang Rushuang glanced at Lang Rushue and then coldly said, He has a special cultivation method that can devour my icy heart force. He is the first person to be able to do that. I might need his help to control the icy heart poison in my body one day. That's why I helped him. What Lang Rushuang said was true. She helped him because she might need his help one day in the future. It's total nonsense to think that she was interested in him. I did it for a reason. However, you stole our father's Azura secret skill and gave it to him. You thought I didn't know, didn't you? Lang Rushuang looked over at Lang Rushue. Lang Rushue stuck out her tongue. She did steal the jade token from her father and give it to Jian Wushuang. The Azura secret skill is powerful and tyrannical. He is only in the Yang Void realm, yet you gave it to him not knowing whether he will be able to use it. Such a... Lang Rushuang sighed and shook her head at her naughty sister. They were sisters, but their personalities were completely opposite. Lang Rushuang was as cold as frost and treated everyone coldly. Lang Rushue was naturally lively and naughty. She was enthusiastic and dealt with people according to her feelings. Jian Wushuang helped her before, so Leng Ruxue treated him enthusiastically. Our father will finish his retreat soon, so you'd better stay here. Otherwise, once he returns and finds out about the trouble you caused, he will punish you, Leng Ruxuang said. Leng Ruxue stuck her tongue out. Apparently she really did fear being scolded by her father. After leaving the nature residence, Jian Wushuang traveled at his fastest speed for half a day before he stopped and landed heavily on the ground below, with a surprised look on his face. This feels great. Jian Wushuang was excited. A terrifying force surged through him as he clenched hands and released an attack towards the woods near him. Rumble. Lots of trees were uprooted or broken. Such a terrifying force would be enough to defeat any half-saint and even many true Saint Realm experts. 1 month ago, when he was being chased by Tanfeng, he had only been in the profound Yang Void Realm, and he had just made his breakthrough. With the help of the heavenly creation skill, his cultivation could reach the peak of the Yang Void Realm at most. However, after staying in the nature residence for 1 month and listening to the zither, he had improved immensely. Now his cultivation had reached the peak of the Yang Void Realm. His power had increased by 2 levels. Now that I'm at the peak of the Yang Void Realm, and since I cultivate the heavenly creation skill, my full power should be about the same as a Saint Realm expert. Jian Wushuang marveled at it. Leng Ruxuang helped him a lot, and that help was not less than what he received in the ancestors' land. He kept it in mind. Jian Wushuang then took out the jade token which Leng Ruxue had given him. This jade token. Jian Wushuang looked at the jade token and focused as he began to examine it with his mind. Suddenly, a rush of information flowed from the jade token and into his mind. Azura secret skill? Jian Wushuang was stunned. He didn't expect to find a secret skill in it. On the Nanyang continent, cultivation methods and manuals were normally recorded in books. Many of the sword techniques Jian Wushuang learned were recorded in books. But this Azura secret skill was hidden in the jade token and the information was directly transferred to his mind. It reminded him of the heavenly creation skill. It was hidden in a gray bead. When the bead disappeared, information on the heavenly creation skill was instantly transferred into his mind, staying there forever. The Azura secret skill was the same, which showed that it was also an exceptional secret skill. Jian Wushuang immediately read through it carefully. Azura secret skill, a special attack skill that contained 3 moves. The first move, Road to the Underworld. The second move, Bridge of Helplessness. The third move, 18 Levels of Hell. All 3 moves were powerful. Even the first move required the user to be in the Saint Realm. The cultivation requirement is so high? Jian Wushuang was shocked. That was just a brief introduction. Jian Wushuang didn't really know how strong it was. But judging from the required cultivation level, Jian Wushuang could tell it wasn't weak. Only an expert in the Saint Realm was qualified to practice the first move. Jian Wushuang guessed that the Azura secret skill was a first-grade secret skill, or maybe even higher. Leng Ruxue really gave me something good. Jian Wushuang smiled lightly. Azura secret skill, the way of killing. It would perfect to use with slaughter origin. Normally, a warrior needs to reach the Saint Realm before practicing Road to the Underworld, but that might not be true for me. Jian Wushuang stayed in the plain and immediately began studying the first move of Azura secret skill, Road to the Underworld. He had to admit that it was a profound technique. Even with Jian Wushuang's talent, it still took him 7 days to comprehend Road to the Underworld. Even the soul-devouring secret skill only took him several days. In a vast area somewhere, Jian Wushuang was standing quietly while looking forward. Suddenly, a terrifying killing intent radiated from his body. Azura secret skill, Road to the Underworld. A sudden and deep shout was heard as the terrifying killing intent was released. At the same time, a vast flow of spiritual power also rushed forward, gathering together to form a bloody river. A long blood river, like a road to the underworld, stretching 1,000 miles long. The blood river surged forward, cold and stifling. This is Road to the Underworld. Jian Wushuang looked at the blood river that was flowing in front of him and was shocked by the power it released. He could tell that just the power radiating from the Blood River was enough to easily kill experts at the peak of the Yang Void Realm. This Blood River was much more powerful than his domain. As the owner of the Blood River, while standing in it, he could release more battle strength. Not only that, the Blood River could be used along with domains. Domain! Immediately, an invisible wave origin energy spread out, and a huge slaughter domain formed, overlapping with the Blood River. Sword Realm. Suddenly, sword essence erupted from Jian Wushuang's body, forming a horrifying sword realm, which superimposed with the Blood River. The combination of road to the underworld, slaughter domain, and sword sea, rumble the bloody river surged up, in all directions, with a terrifying and overwhelming force. This, after feeling the power of the Blood River, even Jian Wushuang couldn't help shuddering with fear. What terrifying power! The power alone can prevent common Saint Realm experts from exerting even 1/10 of their power while trapped in the Blood River. Jian Wuxiang exclaimed, but he also noticed that more than 1/2 of his spiritual power had already been consumed. He immediately stopped applying the road to the underworld out of fear. The surging Blood River slowly disappeared and the world became peaceful once again, leaving Jian Wuxiang standing there with a sweaty forehead. The road to the underworld really is a secret art that exceeds first-grade techniques. Its power is very strong, but at the same time it consumes a huge amount of spiritual power, Jian Wushuang said to himself. He finally understood why this secret art had such a high cultivation requirement. Generally, it could only be reluctantly exerted by experts in the Saint Realm. That was because it consumed too much spiritual power. From the time he activated it until just now, which covered only a dozen breaths, more than half of Jian Wuxiang's spiritual power had been consumed. If he continued to use it, his spiritual power would have been completely exhausted. Moreover, it was only because of the heavenly creation skill, which granted him 10 times more spiritual power than other experts at his rank, that he could sustain it for so long. If Jian Wushuang was just a common warrior at the peak of the Yang Void Realm, even consuming all of his spiritual power wouldn't be enough to display the road to the underworld. With my current spiritual power, if I do my best to exert the road to the underworld while combining it with the slaughter domain and the sword sea, I could sustain it for 20 breaths at most, Jian Wushuang told to himself. Just 20 breaths was too short. Since it consumes so much spiritual power, I'd better not use the road to the underworld unless it is completely necessary. In an ordinary fight, I should only depend on my domain and the sword sea. That should be enough. Jian Wushuang thought deeply. After all, I still have the triple kill sword. Jian Wushuang turned his palm upwards, and the triple kill sword appeared in his hand. After upgrading to a first-grade magic weapon, the triple skill sword radiated hostility that was several times stronger than before. Now, this sword in Jian Wushuang's hand was surging with a level of hostility that was hard to ignore. The triple skill sword is of too high a grade and too powerful, and it should be my trump card in the future. As for ordinary fights, the purple sky sword is enough. At this moment, Jian Wushuang was carrying a purple long sword on his back, the sword that was presented to him by Lang Rushuang. It was also a superior third-grade magic weapon, so it was strong enough to deal with most normal opponents or experts. The triple skill sword and the road to the underworld would become Jian Wushuang's trump cards in the future. Just like the soul-devouring secret skill, they were all trump cards. Now everything is ready. Next, it's time for revenge. Jian Wushuang's eyes became cold as killing intentions surged through his heart. He was a man who believed in an eye for an eye, and a tooth for a tooth. He made sure to do things vigorously and effectively. Once it's time for revenge, never postpone. As for the Holy Emperor Palace, he had to tolerate them temporarily because he was not powerful enough. But Tan Feng, a month ago, that guy had chased him and wanted to kill him in such a horrible fashion. Now, Jian Wushuang's strength had increased, and the first thing he intended to do was to kill that guy. With my current strength, I'm confident I can kill him. Having made up his mind, Jian Wushuang immediately set off. Tan Feng, who ranked 9th on the Blood Moon list, was quite famous in the Tang dynasty. Not only that, he was also the mansion master of the 9th Heaven Mansion, which was one of the 21 large prefectures in the Tang dynasty. Tan Feng was earnestly cultivating every day in the Ninth Heaven Mansion, so it was very easy to locate him. After traveling for 3 days, Jian Wushuang arrived at the Ninth Heaven Mansion, but his current appearance was different. A figure wearing a blood-red robe, a wicked blood-red mask, and carrying a long sword on his back, appeared at the void above the Ninth Heaven Mansion. An overwhelming killing intent was radiating from the figure. Who is that? The incredibly killing intent caused a commotion inside the Ninth Heaven Mansion, after which one figure after another rushed into the sky. Among them, the leader was a brown-haired man carrying a giant axe on his back, whose cultivation had reached the half-saint level. Yet, the mansion master, Tan Feng, had not appeared. This man has such a strong killing intent. The brown-haired man carrying the giant axe looked at Jian Wushuang. After narrowing his eyes, the man asked, "Who are you?" "Nan," Jian Wushuang said in a cold voice. "Nan? Number 36 at the blood moon list?" The face of the brown-haired man slightly changed. Previously, when Jian Wushuang was earnestly cultivating inside the Heartless sect, Nan, his slaughter doppelganger, had been roaming around the Tang dynasty and fighting. So, he had also become quite famous, ranking 36th on the blood moon list. The brown-haired man, as well as the other experts in the Ninth Heaven Mansion, had certainly heard of Nan. "Mr. Nan, why are you here at our Ninth Heaven Mansion?" the brown-haired man asked coldly. "I come here for Tan Feng. Bring him out," Jian Wushuang directly answered. The face of the brown-haired man changed at once. "Our mansion master is an important person. How dare you ask to see him?" Jian Wushuang's eyes were ice-cold as he glanced at the brown-haired man and said, in a low voice, "You just need to tell him that I'm here to claim his life." After hearing Jian Wushuang's word, the brown-haired man and the many experts of the Ninth Heaven Mansion were immediately stunned. That brown-haired man instantly became enraged. "What a reckless bastard! Where are you from? You dare to challenge our mansion master? Get lost!" With a furious shout, the thick giant axe appeared in his hand. Then, a harsh air-bursting sound was suddenly heard as a humongous axe shadow appeared in front of Jian Wushuang. An axe shadow, which seemed like a small mountain, rushed forward in an attempt to directly suppress Jian Wushuang. Jian Wushuang slightly raised his head and glanced at the mountainous axe shadow with cold eyes. Then, crack! The long sword was unsheathed and a flash of sword shadow instantly swept out. So fast. It was so fast that nobody there had seen the sword's path. After which, Jian Wushuang resheathed the purple long sword. He was still standing there with little movement. In front of him, the figure of the brown-haired man began to slowly descend. The brown-haired man's eyes were wide open and there was a very clear line of blood on his face, extending from the center of his eyebrows to his jaw. In the next instant, the cold corpse of the brown-haired man began falling towards the ground below. The experts from the Ninth Heaven Mansion were stunned. A half-saint expert, who also ranked very high on the blood moon list, was killed by a single sword move. After killing that brown-haired man, Jian Wushuang's eyes were still incredibly cold, as he suddenly released a furious shout that echoed throughout the whole sky. "Tan Feng, come out! Come out! Come out!" Jian Wushuang's shout echoed throughout the whole area, causing astonishment and fear from the numerous nearby experts. Tan Feng, the mansion master of the Ninth Heaven Mansion? He was the expert ranked 9th on the blood moon list. Who dared to challenge him? In a very large secret chamber, inside the Ninth Heaven Mansion, the old bald elder, Tan Feng, was surrounded by flashes of gale and thunderbolt. Whoosh! 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 Tan Feng's figure constantly moved around the secret chamber, forming flashes of gale and thunderbolt, with numerous shadows erupting outwards. Shortly after that, Tan Feng's figure condensed. "No, it's not like this." Tan Feng slowly shook his head and exclaimed in his heart. "No wonder the wrath of gale and thunderbolt is a superior second-grade manual. I have meticulously studied for 1 month, just to find that I have not yet grasped the primary technique." The Wrath of Gale and Thunderbolt was the superior second-grade manual the Holy Emperor Palace had given to Tan Feng after he killed Jian Wushuang. It is a manual related to a movement technique. But the superior second-grade manual was too profound. Although he had earnestly studied for 1 month, there was still a long way to go before he grasped it. Just then, Tan Feng, come out! Jian Wushuang's furious shout echoed throughout the area. So it was also heard in this secret chamber, which caused Tan Feng's expression to become gloomy. Whoosh! Suddenly, Tan Feng's figure appeared in the air above the 9th heaven mansion. Immediately, he noticed Jian Wushuang, who was wearing a blood-red robe and a wicked blood-red mask, standing in front of him. Meanwhile, he also saw the corpse of the brown-haired man below. What's wrong? Tan Feng glanced at an expert from the 9th heaven mansion beside him. He looked dignified rather than angry. Mansion Master, this man is Nan, ranked 36th on the Blood Moon list. As soon as he arrived here, he said he was here to claim your life. Lord Longxing infuriated, so he tried to drive him away. But, instead, he was killed with a single sword move. An expert from the 9th heaven mansion said respectfully. What? Tan Feng narrowed his eyes and looked at Jian Wushuang. A man who is only at the peak of the Yang Void realm boasted so much and even dared to kill one of my men? You really want to die? Tan Feng didn't waste any more words. An expert of the Saint realm, especially a warrior like him who had grasped a domain, would generally keep his dignity and wouldn't casually fight against weaker opponents, unless there was a huge benefit. But, if someone actively come and challenged him, the situation would be different. Little guy, go die. Tan Feng glanced at Jian Wushuang as he slowly reached out his hand. A rush of overwhelming force erupted from his fingertips, forming an invisible power that instantly rushed towards Jian Wushuang. With a cold face, Jian Wushuang waved his right hand and a similarly powerful force erupted. A suffocating sound was heard, and then the two forces separated and disappeared. What? Tan Feng glanced at Jian Wushuang in astonishment. It's no wonder you were able to kill Longxing with a single sword move. It seems that you really are qualified to challenge the mansion masters. But it's a shame. You have chosen a wrong opponent. There are 21 mansions in the Tang dynasty, and also 21 mansion masters. Yet you chose me. How stupid you are. You will know if I'm stupid once we fight, said Jian Wushuang. After which, he wasted no more words and began moving. Tens of meters were passed in an instant. Jian Wushuang stood in front of Tan Feng with the purple sky sword in his hand as a flash of sword light silently struck outwards. When the sword light appeared, the whole world began trembling. Momentum? You've even comprehended it to the limit and can activate its full strength. Tan Feng's expression changed, but he was still smiling as he said, however, it's still not enough. Tan Feng just stood there as streaks of invisible waves radiated from him. The invisible waves covered everything for nearly 1,000 meters, including Jian Wushuang. A great power immediately began suppressing him. 1 month ago, when Jian Wushuang had been trapped in Tan Feng's domain, the result had been very bad. But now, streaks of waves also erupted from Jian Wushuang's body, containing an incredible killing intention that crazily spread out and instantly formed a slaughter domain. Domain? Tan Feng began to feel astonished. He had never thought Nan, who was wearing a wicked blood-red mask in front of him, could have comprehended a domain while only at the peak of the Yang Void realm. Both of them had comprehended a domain. Both domains crazily suppressed the enemy, so they were in a deadlock for some time, with neither one of them being able to defeat the other. You really do have some ability. It's a shame, though, you were still just a joke in front of me, Tan Feng said with a sneer. Then he finally began to move. With only a single stride, he appeared in front of the flash of sword light. His palm, which looked like withered wood, slowly struck out. In that instant, the domain he had spread began to shrink at incredible speed. And then, the power of the whole domain gathered into his palm. Boom! The force from the sharp palm shattered the space and crashed head-on against the sword light from Jian Wushuang. Pong! Thump! Jian Wushuang was immediately forced to retreat nearly 100 meters before he could regain his balance. Stage 2 domain? Jian Wushuang raised his eyebrows. Even for the same domain, the level of comprehension could be different. Momentum only required 1/10 of the origin to be activated. Yet, activating 9/10 or the full power of an origin would still be called momentum. However, their strengths were definitely different. This was also true with domains. Domains had 3 levels. The first level was what Jian Wushuang had used, a domain that could spread out and suppress the opponent. The second level required gathering all the power of the domain to one point and then endowing every move with the power of that domain. As for the third level, it required extreme comprehension of the domain. A single thought was enough for the domain to forcefully suppress the opponent's spirit and consciousness. That was really horrifying. His father, Jian Nantian, was at that level. He could kill an expert of the Saint Realm with a single sword move by activating his domain, only because he had comprehended the domain to such a high level. Stage 2 Domain. His every posture and movement carries the power of his domain. If I do not use my trump cards, it will be very hard to kill him, Jian Wushuang thought to himself. He had an idea. In this case, let me directly use my trump cards and slaughter him. Jian Wushuang's eyes became cold. In the next instant, a blast of unprecedented killing intent abruptly erupted from his body. Meanwhile, vast spiritual power began to surge. Azura's secret skill, Road to the Underworld. With a low shout, a rolling killing intent and vast spiritual power radiated from his body, directly transforming into a blood river, silently rolling and surging. Gradually, streaks blood-red fog began to float by, like flickering ghost shadows. This blood river appeared just like a road to the underworld. The blood river had covered the entire area, with Jian Wushuang and Tan Feng standing at the center of it. The loss of spiritual power is very rapid. My spiritual power will be exhausted in only 20 breaths. Feeling the fast consumption of spiritual power inside his body, Jian Wushuang turned up his hand and the triple kill sword appeared. His eyes were so cold that he looked like a death shura. 20 breaths is long enough to kill him. Thump! A boundless blood river surged forth, forming waves that rippled along the surface of the river. Tan Feng was surrounded by the blood river and felt an astonishing killing intent from all directions. His complexion changed slightly. But at this time, while holding the triple kill sword, Jian Wushuang gave him a cold look. Meanwhile, his slaughter domain and sword realm also began filling the area. The combination of Road to the Underworld, slaughter domain, and sword sea. Suppress! Jian Wushuang shouted in a low voice. Rumbling, the boundless blood river surged and began to suppress Tan Feng, directly and crazily. Tan Feng also released his domain. However, the suppression from the blood river was pushing him backward. He felt an unprecedented effect on him and was even out of breath. What? Tan Feng's eyes dilated as he sensed how difficult it was for him to move. He could no longer remain calm. 60%. My strength was suppressed by 60%. How is this possible? Tan Feng gave an astonished look. He was a top expert who mastered his domain. Yet his strength was being suppressed by 60%, even when he used his domain at full power. Without his domain, he might not even have 10% of his strength. What on earth is this blood river? How can it be so powerful? Tan Feng was astounded. However, he had no idea that the power of the blood river was the combination of Road to the Underworld, slaughter domain, and sword sea. One of them was a secret skill while the others were an origin domain and a sword skill. All 3 were domains. Therefore, their power could be superimposed. Among them, the strongest was Road to the Underworld, followed by slaughter domain, with sword sea being the weakest. Road to the Underworld was powerful enough to shatter Tan Feng's domain and suppress his strength. Now, with the combination of the 3, its power was unstoppable and suppressed 60% of his strength even when Tan Feng executed his domain. Boom! A series of blasts were heard. Jian Wushuang held the triple kill sword, while radiating a dense killing intent, like a shura from the boundless underworld. His eyes contained a glimmering red light when he appeared in front of Tan Feng. With an overwhelming power, the triple kill sword slashed through the air at an odd angle, stabbing towards Tan Feng. The moment the sword light struck outwards, The triple kill sword's strength surged, and it began radiating the power of a first-grade magic weapon. Surrounding Blood River crazily churned, and an intangible power reinforced Jian Wushuang's strength, causing the power of the sword light to surge once again. A gloomy dignity appeared in Tan Feng's face. Seeing the exceedingly powerful sword light piercing towards him, he was no longer being careless. He waved his withered palms and focused the power of his whole domain towards his palms. At the same time, the center of his palms began gleaming with a dazzling golden light. "Mountain Crusher!" Tan Feng roared. His palms surrounded by the dazzling golden light slapped against the space in front of him. The whole area jolted, and the space his palm passed through was shaking crazily. Then there was a collision. Bang! A loud thundering sound was heard throughout the whole area. Then, there was a subtle sound, at which time Tan Feng's eyes immediately widened. The dense golden light from his palms formed crack that began to rapidly grow larger. An instant later, the golden light disappeared and the sword light continued forward without losing any power. Tan Feng had a frightened look. The next moment, he covered his body with the force of gale and thunderbolt. Swoosh! Tan Feng seemed to turn into a lightning, and then he disappeared. Hum! Jian Wushuang frowned because his sword lost its target. While looking around, he noticed a lightning flashing through the Blood River, rushing towards the perimeter of the Blood River. "You want to escape?" Then the Blood River rose and formed a blood-red palm before the lightning. The blood-red palm contained a mighty power as it slammed down towards Tan Feng, just like swatting a mosquito. "What's this?" The sudden change caused Tan Feng's expression to change sharply. He had no time to parry the bloody palm and was forced to move backwards. While moving, Tan Feng did his best to maintain his balance. However, he suddenly sensed an unprecedented danger coming towards him. He turned his head and realized a cold sword light had appeared behind him. Bang! The sword light contained an explosive force that easily pierced his body, leaving behind a hole that ran straight through him. I, Tan Feng murmured unwillingly. Before he died, he firmly stared at Jian Wushuang's long sword. He knew the sword. That sword should belong to Lung Rushuang. Tan Feng's eyes were empty as he thought about that. Jian Wushuang coldly stood in the center of the Blood River, watching as Tan Feng's life faded. Jian Wushuang had a peculiar smile on his face. Then he said, in a relaxed manner, "A month ago, I was completely miserable as you chased me. Your death at my hands today was fate." Hearing this, Tan Feng was shocked. A month ago, wasn't it Jian Wushuang that he had chased so miserably? With his strength, he would seldom chase someone. This year, he had only chased 2 people. And a month ago, what was his identity? Impossible! Impossible! Tan Feng crazily shook his head and roared furiously from the bottom of his heart. Impossible! He had no reason to believe that this person was the man he had chased to death a month ago. He had definitely killed that man a month ago, and his corpse had been handed over to Holy Emperor Palace. How could he still be alive? Jian Wushuang said nothing as he stretched out his hand to take off his wicked blood-red mask. Then a young and handsome face appeared. Seeing this familiar face, Tan Feng was utterly muddled. "Yes, it's him," Tan Feng muttered. Although his breath grew weaker, he was still shocked. He definitely remembered killing Jian Wushuang and handing over his body. However, he was still alive. Not only did Jian Wushuang not die, he had also killed him today. It had only been 1 month. A month ago, Jian Wushuang was thoroughly defeated, even after desperately executing the secret skill which could devour natural power. But now, with only the strength of 1 person and 1 sword, Jian Wushuang absolutely overpowered Tan Feng, without even executing his trump card. Tan Feng was unable to escape and was eventually killed. 1 month? Tan Feng closed his eyes and a self-deprecating smile appeared on his face. The bottom of his heart was filled with one sentence. What kind of monster did I provoke a month ago? The battle between Jian Wushuang and Tan Feng was striking and had attracted the attention of many warriors surrounding the 9th Heaven Mansion. When those warriors saw Tan Feng lose his life, and watched as his body slowly fell down, they all felt astonished. After the astonishment, loud shouts were heard. Tan Feng actually died? Nan killed Tan Feng. It's a big event. A big event. The numerous surrounding warriors were extremely excited. However, Jian Wushuang appeared very calm. A month ago, in Jian Wushuang's eyes, Tan Feng was so strong that Jian Wushuang was unable to counter him, even with his full strength and the soul-devouring secret skill. But a month later, his strength had made major progress. Once his cultivation reached the peak of the Yang Void Realm, Jian Wushuang was no longer weaker than an average Saint Realm expert, regarding the sheer power he could release. The combination of Road to the Underworld, Slaughter Domain, and Sword C suppressed Tan Feng and routed his domain. Tan Feng could only display 40% of his strength, but Jian Wushuang was actually strengthened by the power of Road to the Underworld. Tan Feng's loss and Jian Wushuang's gain. In addition, as a first-grade magic weapon, how incredible was the power released by the triple kill sword. All those resulted in Tan Feng being overpowered by Jian Wushuang, even though his domain was at the second stage, which was a powerful skill that concentrated the power of the whole domain. Tan Feng was overpowered, surrounded by Road to the Underworld with no chance to escape, and then he was killed by Jian Wushuang in the end. After killing Tan Feng, Jian Wushuang discontinued Road to the Underworld. After all, the skill consumed too much spiritual power. After which, he donned the wicked blood-red mask again before appearing beside Tan Feng's body. With only a wave of his hand, Tan Feng's interspatial ring floated toward Jian Wushuang. He skimmed through the contents and smiled. A month ago, he had no choice but to discard all his treasures and his second body, to gain a sliver of a chance to live. But now, after killing Tan Feng, he not only regained his treasures, he also gained plenty of purple crystal spiritual liquid and treasure that Tan Feng spent his whole life collecting. Tan Feng's corpse was also stored in the interspatial ring by Jian Wushuang. After all, it was the corpse of a Saint Realm expert. Tan Feng had already formed a saintly body, so his body would not be rot after he died. Jian Wushuang might have a use for it in the future. After completing those, Jian Wushuang turned around and headed towards the Ninth Heaven Mansion. Whoosh! 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 A mass of experts from the Ninth Heaven Mansion appeared beside Jian Wushuang. One of them, a black-clothed woman at the half-saint level, said, "I am He Lin, Mansion Master. We will go to great lengths to do whatever you order." The other experts from the Ninth Heaven Mansion were all kneeling in front of Jian Wushuang. Tan Feng was the Ninth Heaven Mansion Master. Now, Jian Wushuang killed him, so he was the new Ninth Heaven Mansion Master. Those experts from the Ninth Heaven Mansion would follow his commands. Jian Wushuang nodded slightly and waved his hands, gesturing for them to disperse. Then he entered into a secret chamber in the Ninth Heaven Mansion alone, and He Lin stood guard outside respectfully. In the secret chamber, Jian Wushuang sat with legs crossed. A black long spear and a manual appeared in his hands. He got Tan Feng's interspatial ring, which contained many treasures, including cultivation methods, manuals, and elixirs. Several of the treasures were so valuable that Saint Realm experts would be willing to battle for them. But Jian Wushuang did not care for those treasures. What he valued were the two things in his hands. This black long spear was a superior third-grade magic weapon with great power. As for the manual, it was a superior second-grade manual. Those two things should be the reward from Holy Emperor Palace that Tan Feng received for handing over my second body. Jian Wushuang smiled secretly. Not only Tan Feng, even the Holy Emperor Palace believed he had been killed. But he was still alive. Now, the two treasures had become his for such a cheap price. Though the long spear is powerful, it's useless to me, so I will swap it for other treasures. Jian Wushuang looked at the black long spear. After waving his hands, Jian Wushuang placed the spear into his interspatial ring. Then Jian Wushuang looked at the manual. Wrath of Gale and Thunderbolt? Jian Wushuang was startled. It was a superior second-grade manual, which was appealing enough to make many experts of the Saint Realm crazy in the Nanyang continent. Then Jian Wushuang began to flip through the manual. 1 hour later, he had an astonished expression after closing the manual. The manual contained a body skill called Wrath of Gale and Thunderbolt. When it was used, the force of gale and thunderbolt were combined, and its speed was like lightning. The lightning Tan Feng displayed should be from the manual. Jian Wushuang secretly thought. The speed of the thunder light Tan Feng formed when escaping was so fast that it surprised Jian Wushuang. Most importantly, when Tan Feng was being suppressed by the blood river formed from road to the underworld, his speed could only reach 30% at most. However, the speed of the thunder light form was still astonishing. If the skill was used while not being restricted, how fast would it be? The manual is really nice, but I don't quite meet the requirements. Jian Wushuang frowned. After carefully reading through it, he understood that Wrath of Gale and Thunderbolt was most suitable for experts who comprehended Gale origin or Thunderbolt origin. If not satiate one of them, it was hard to master the manual unless the assistance of Divine Wood of Gale and Thunderbolt. Jian Wushuang had comprehended both World Origin and Slaughter Origin, with World Origin including everything between heaven and earth. However, it was not the same as comprehending Gale Origin and Thunderbolt Origin. If I want to cultivate this skill, I will have to get a Divine Wood of Gale and Thunderbolt. Jian Wushuang secretly thought. Divine Wood of Gale and Thunderbolt was a really rare natural treasure that was highly valued. Divine Wood of Gale and Thunderbolt was the only treasure that could help an expert who comprehended other origins learn Wrath of Gale and Thunderbolt. "Hey Lin," Jian Wushuang said, spreading his voice over the area. Hey Lin stopped guarding outside and came into the secret chamber. She said respectfully, "Master, what can I do for you? Did Tan Feng order you to search for information regarding Divine Wood of Gale and Thunderbolt?" Jian Wushuang asked. Divine Wood of Gale and Thunderbolt? Hey Lin nodded slightly and said, "A half-month ago, Tan Feng asked us to find some Divine Wood of Gale and Thunderbolt. Have you uncovered anything?" Jian Wushuang asked again. "Yes," Hey Lin replied. "It said that the Lord of Ditian Prefecture found a Divine Wood of Gale and Thunderbolt many years ago. After hearing that, Tan Feng met the Lord of Ditian Prefecture and attempted to trade for it. But something went wrong and Tan Feng failed to get it. He was even thrown out by the Lord of Ditian Prefecture." Kicked out? Jian Wushuang was startled. 21 large prefectures, 21 mansion masters with great strength. As for the Lord of Ditian Prefecture, Jian Wushuang knew he was indeed a super expert who ranked third on the Blood Moon list. Even though Tan Feng had mastered a second-stage domain, he only ranked 9th on the Blood Moon list. So, the Lord of Ditian Prefecture, who ranked third, was definitely much stronger. Jian Wushuang deduced that the Lord of Ditian Prefecture was likely to have reached the pinnacle of the origin he comprehended. As long as I'm alive, Holy Emperor Palace will spare no effort to kill me. Although I am quite powerful, I'm still not strong enough to protect myself. But the Wrath of Gale and Thunder is of great use, so I want to learn it. Jian Wushuang looked dignified. It seems that I must visit the Lord of Ditian Prefecture in person. Are you going to visit the Lord of Ditian Prefecture? Hey Lin asked in a surprise. Can't I? Jian Wushuang asked indifferently. It's nothing, but it is said that the Lord of Ditian Prefecture has an odd temper. Be careful when you meet him, Mansion Master, Hey Lin said. An odd temper? Jian Wushuang smiled slightly, showing that he did not care. The next day, Jian Wushuang left for Ditian Prefecture. Ditian Prefecture was one of the 21 large prefectures, but it had an extremely high status among them. The Lord of Ditian Prefecture was recognized as a super expert who ranked top 3 in the whole Tang dynasty, which caused other experts to revere him. Dressed in a bloody robe and wearing a wicked bloody mask, Jian Wushuang appeared in the air above the Ditian Prefecture. Stop! Several shadows appeared in succession above the Ditian Prefecture, headed by a young man with bloody hair. Would you please tell your lord that Nan has come to visit him? Said Jian Wushuang. Nan? The one ranked 9th on the Blood Moon list, who killed Tan Feng and took his place as the 9th Heaven Mansion. The young man with bloody hair was shocked. News that Jian Wushuang killed Tan Feng and became the new 9th Heaven Mansion Master had already spread throughout the Tang dynasty. His new rank was updated on the Blood Moon list. So it was only natural that the guards in the Ditian Prefecture knew about it. Please wait a moment, sir. I will inform the mansion master right away. The young man with bloody hair slightly saluted him and went to deliver the message. A few moments later, "Sire, come in and have a talk." A vigorous and forceful voice was heard coming from the mission. Jian Wushuang smiled and strode forward without any hindrance from the guards. Jian Wushuang quickly made his way to the meeting hall. In the main position of the hall, a white-haired elder stood calmly with his arms folded. He stood there like a sculpture, motionless and with no breath. A light flashed through Jian Wushuang's eyes as soon as he entered the hall and saw the back of this white-haired elder. It reminded him of someone he had seen before. At that moment, the sculpture-like white-haired elder began to move and turned around. Once Jian Wushuang was able to see the real appearance of the white-haired elder, his eyes suddenly widened in astonishment. "Senior, is it you?" Jian Wushuang asked with a hint of surprise. "Senior." The white-haired elder stroked his white beard while smiling, then said, "Have you met me before?" Jian Wushuang smiled and said nothing. After remembering that he was wearing the wicked bloody mask, Jian Wushuang took the mask off and revealed his own appearance. Junior Jian Wushuang greets Senior Wine Master. Jian Wushuang saluted solemnly. "Wine Master." The elder in front of Jian Wushuang was the lord of Ditian Prefecture who ranked top 3 in the Tang dynasty. Jian Wushuang had only seen him once, when the elder took Yang Zixuan as his personal disciple. Wine Master left a deep impression on Jian Wushuang, not only because he was the first expert of the Saint Realm that Jian Wushuang met, but also because he was the master of Yang Zixuan. What he didn't expect was that Wine Master was the lord of Ditian Prefecture. "Oh!" Wine Master looked at Jian Wushuang and instantly remembered Jian Wushuang once he heard his name. "Jian Wushuang? Nan?" Wine Master smiled and said, "Several days ago, I heard that Tan Feng was killed. I was curious about who did it, but I never thought it was you. The first time I met you, you were merely a young guy in the Gold Core realm. You have made great progress in such a short time. Compared to you, that disciple of mine is far behind." "You flatter me, Senior." Jian Wushuang was very modesty and asked, "Where is Yang Zixuan?" There was a hint of expectation deep in Jian Wushuang's heart. Jian Wushuang hadn't seen Yang Zixuan for a long time. Previously, in the easternmost hunt, Yang Zixuan's arm was chopped off. Jian Wushuang wondered whether he had taken the purple fire body-shaping elixir and recovered. A few days ago, he was bitterly defeated by someone. After recovering from his injury, he immediately went into seclusion. "He might finish it in several days," Wine Master answered. "Yang Zixuan was defeated by someone? Who was it?" Jian Wushuang asked with curiosity. "Haha. The one that defeated him was the same Tan Feng who you just killed." Wine Master laughed. "What?" Jian Wushuang was really surprised. Yang Zixuan had a competition with Tan Feng? "Senior Wine Master, what the hell is going on?" Jian Wushuang immediately asked. "Some time ago, that 9th Heaven Mansion Master, Tan Feng, came here to meet me and wanted to trade for the divine wood of Gale and Thunderbolt, but I refused." Jian Wushuang listened to him seriously. "The reason I refused was not that I was reluctant to part with the divine wood of Gale and Thunderbolt, nor was his treasure not valuable enough. On the contrary, he was sincere enough to bring very valuable treasures. They were definitely worth exchanging for a piece of divine wood of Gale and Thunderbolt. In truth, it was my disciple, or to be precise, you, that caused me to refuse," said Wine Master. "Because of me?" Jian Wushuang was shocked. The news that the Holy Emperor Palace offered a reward for your arrest was spread throughout the whole Nanyang continent. I couldn't possibly don't know about it. However, 1 month ago, I heard that Tan Feng killed you and he got the reward from the Holy Emperor Palace. Wine Master looked over at Jian Wushuang. "My disciple is close to you. When he heard Tan Feng was here, he immediately tried to take revenge. It was a pity, though, he was not strong enough and was defeated by Tan Feng. Because of my disciple, I naturally can't give the divine wood of Gale and Thunderbolt to Tan Feng, so I kicked him out." "That's it?" Jian Wushuang asked while smiling faintly. He had heard from He Lin that Tan Feng failed to exchange for the divine wood of Gale and Thunderbolt in the Ditian Prefecture, and was kicked out by the Lord of Ditian Prefecture. At first he was very curious why. But now he realized that he himself was the reason. And my disciple suffered a lot after being defeated by Tanfeng, so he immediately entered seclusion. But I arranged it for him. Not surprisingly, after he finishes his seclusion, he will barely be able to contend with Tanfeng, Wine Master said confidently. He'll barely be able to contend with Tanfeng? Jian Wushuang felt both surprised and frightened. They had been apart for no more than 2 years. During this period, Jian Wushuang made great progress in such a short time because of the heavenly creation skill and opportunities from the ancestors' land and nature residence. But Yang Zixuan had also made frightful progress. Truly worthy of being my second brother. Jian Wushuang laughed, feeling proud of Yang Zixuan. Yang Zixuan was inherently a peerless genius with an impassive character and an indomitable spirit. Previously, in the Tianzong dynasty, which was just a weak and small dynasty, he had cultivated by himself with very little guidance. Thus, his talent could not be completely revealed. It was not until he acknowledged Wine Master as his master that his true potential talent had been realized. So, why are you here today? Wine Master asked as he sat down on the chair, smiling and looking at Jian Wushuang. Senior Wine Master, why I am here today is for the same reason Tanfeng came that day. I want the divine wood of Gale and Thunderbolt, Jian Wushuang said directly. Wine Master nodded slightly and was not surprised. Tanfeng got the wrath of Gale and Thunderbolt, so he needed the divine wood of Gale and Thunderbolt to assist him in cultivating it. Now, you have killed Tanfeng and his wrath of Gale and Thunderbolt belongs to you. It seems that you are quite interested in that superior second-grade manual. Jian Wushuang smiled faintly and said, I sincerely hope Senior can help me. It's just a piece of divine wood of Gale and Thunderbolt. It is not of great use to me. If not for my disciple, I would have exchanged it with Tanfeng when he brought those treasures here. Wine Master smiled and said, You can have it. Thanks a lot, Jian Wushuang said with surprise. I will also give you plenty of treasures. Wine Master frowned. Then he suddenly lowered his voice and said, Yesterday I was informed that the alchemy school has something urgent to consult with me and my disciple about. In a few days, alchemy school experts will pay a visit here. It is normal for them to consult me. After all, their master and I are good friends. I have turned to the alchemy school for help several times and I owe the alchemy school. It is natural for the alchemy school to ask me for help when something inconvenient happens. But it also involves my disciple, which is interesting. Hearing this, Jian Wushuang could not help smiling. The alchemy school had a good relationship with Wine Master, but not with Yang Zixuan. But now something out of the ordinary was happening, so there was only one answer. This implied that Wang Yuan was involved in it and he was coming here with alchemy school experts in several days. Wang Yuan has something urgent to speak about with Yang Zixuan? Jian Wushuang asked while touching his nose. Young guy, stay at the Detian prefecture for a few days. My disciple will finish his seclusion in 2 days, Wine Master said. It would be my pleasure, Jian Wushuang said and nodded seriously. That day, Wine Master gave the divine wood of Gale and Thunderbolt to Jian Wushuang in exchange for some treasures. It would be much easier to cultivate Wrath of Gale and Thunderbolt with the assistance of the divine wood of Gale and Thunderbolt. Jian Wushuang also had found a secret chamber to begin his comprehension. 3 days later, in the center of a huge martial arts practice field of the Detian prefecture, Jian Wushuang calmly stood, surrounded by a heavy force of Gale and Thunderbolt, as well as a vague cracking sound. A hint of sharp light was shining in Jian Wushuang's eyes as he suddenly moved. Shua! A flash of lightning flashed and appeared at the end of the martial arts practice field. But, in the very next moment, it came back to its original position. There was a 1,000-meter distance between the starting point and the ending point, but the lightning finished its journey there and back within the blink of an eye. How fast! It's so fast! Jian Wushuang was very excited. The Wrath of Gale and Thunderbolt was worthy of being a superior second-grade manual. It was very powerful. Although Jian Wushuang only had an initial mastery of it, his speed after transforming into the lightning was 3-fold faster than his normal peak speed. 3-fold. That was a huge gap. Because of this, Jian Wushuang realized that Tan Feng hadn't mastered the Wrath of Gale and Thunderbolt previously. If he had, he would have been much faster. Even with the suppression from road to the underworld, Jian Wushuang might not have been able to kill him. Wrath of Gale and Thunderbolt is a body skill. The greatest advantage is not the instantaneous speed but the flexibility of movement. Jian Wushuang looked up and released the force of Gale and Thunderbolt again. Whoosh! 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 A lightning flashed in quick succession and changed directions several times. For a moment, weird shadows clothed in lightning appeared on the martial arts practice field. All of them were residual shadows caused by Jian Wushuang's speed. In an instant, hundreds of residual shadows appeared on the martial arts practice field. Those residual shadows were all the same, making it impossible to figure out where Jian Wushuang was. Boom! A thick cloud of thunderbolt landed on the ground of the martial arts practice field, immediately causing the ground to crack. Jian Wushuang finally appeared from inside the lightning. Wonderful! The feeling is wonderful. Jian Wushuang clenched his hands. It really was quite wonderful. When a person zoomed through an area and made a sudden pause or changed their direction, their speed would normally slow down a little. But by using the Wrath of Gale and Thunderbolt, he would not suffer any obstructions. His movements were as smooth as a fish swimming in water. Instant speed, instant change of direction, instant deceleration, no obstructions. Everything was smooth. If, in the future, I meet an expert who is stronger than me, and I can't defeat them, at least I will be able to flee or fight with him using the speed from the Wrath of Gale and Thunderbolt. Jian Wushuang felt secretly happy. At that exact moment, boom! An aura abruptly surged toward the sky from inside the Detian prefecture. The aura possessed a force that seemed to look down on everything and contain an overwhelming pressure. It seemed that the owner of this aura was an immortal king who could impose his will on everything. That's... Jian Wushuang immediately looked towards the source of that terrifying aura. What an imposing aura! Jian Wushuang thought while gazing. Imposing? Generally speaking, only those with a high status, like the monarch of a dynasty, some sect masters, or some powerful leaders, would naturally have such an imposing pressure. But this pressure didn't usually come from someone's aura. Now, this rising aura possessed an overwhelming pressure. It was really amazing. Is Yang Zishuan about to exit his seclusion? Jian Wushuang was looking forward to it. The dreadful blast of wind ceased slowly soon after it erupted. A secret chamber's gate of Detian Prefecture was opened abruptly, and a cold-faced young man who wore a blood-red saber on his back walked out slowly. Just after he walked out, he saw Jian Wushuang standing in front of him at the martial arts practice field, staring at him. Second brother, it's been a long time since I saw you. Your arm has recovered. Jian Wushuang scratched his nose and couldn't help but smile after seeing the repaired left arm of Yang Zishuan. Third brother. Meeting Jian Wushuang, Yang Zishuan was surprised at first, but soon turned indifferent again. I thought you were killed by Tan Feng. A warrior like Tan Feng could never kill me, Jian Wushuang said. So confident, huh? Yang Zishuan looked at Jian Wushuang. I suppose your strength has improved a lot in the last 2 years? Why not give it a try? Jian Wushuang raised his eyebrows. The two brothers looked at each other and smiled. Strangely, Yang Zishuan's figure disappeared from right where he stood, and when he appeared again, he was already right in front of Jian Wushuang. Meanwhile, the blood-red saber on his back chopped out silently, stirring up heaven and earth the moment it flew. Jian Wushuang smiled slightly, and soon the purple sky sword appeared in his hand, sweeping out a blast of sword light which also moved the entire heaven and earth. Clang! The saber and the sword clashed at each other, and instantly caused 2 huge cracks on the center ground of the martial arts practice field, both of which were over 100 meters long. And then, shua! Shwa! Shwa! The figures of the two brothers flashed in the void simultaneously, along with the deafening sound of clashes. In the Detian prefecture, Wine Master sat decorously in an attic, cooking wine. The wine jug and bowl were trembling slightly along with the loud sounds of clashes out there. Are the two boys trying to tear down my Detian prefecture? Wine Master took a glimpse at the void outside, shaking his head and smiling, and then continued to cook his wine. About an hour later, the huge sound of collisions that rang over the whole Detian prefecture and the two crazy powers that clashed against each other gradually subsided. In the martial arts practice field, Jian Wushuang and Yang Zixuan sat there at ease. Your strength developed a lot after near 2 years. Wine Master said you can almost defeat Tan Feng after you finished your cultivation. I didn't believe this at first, but now I think you do have the strength. Jian Wushuang smiled and said, So do you? Yang Zixuan looked over to Jian Wushuang. If I'm not wrong, you would have still hidden much of your real strength. Haha, you would not have used your full strength as well, Jian Wushuang said. The two men lay there at ease, talking and commenting on each other's strength. The battle that happened just now was only a simple spar after their reunion, so both of them held back their strength, especially for Jian Wushuang, because he hadn't even demonstrated his domain. Let's go and have a drink, Yang Zixuan said. Don't hurry, big brother Wang Yuan will be here in a few days. We can drink together when he arrives, Jian Wushuang said. All right. Yang Zixuan nodded. They too waited for Wang Yuan at the Detian prefecture. During this period, they still challenged each other frequently. Although they reserved their strength, every battle they fought still caused a great commotion and scars on the ground. Yang Zixuan also heard from Wine Master that Jian Wushuang killed Tan Feng, and knew that right now Jian Wushuang's strength should be more powerful than his. He fought with Tan Feng before, so he knew that even now he could barely compete with Tan Feng using his full strength. However, Jian Wushuang could kill Tan Feng, so Jian Wushuang's battle strength must be superior to his. Jian Wushuang also had a general understanding of Yang Zixuan's strength. A predestined warrior. That was Jian Wushuang's commentary to Yang Zixuan. With real strength reserved, Yang Zixuan's battle strength was at best equal to a normal expert of the Saint Realm, but once he used his full energy to demonstrate high heaven technique, his strength would rise up to a brand new level with the heaven breath's blessing, and surely could confront with those experts that mastered the second domain like Tan Feng. 2 days later, when Jian Wushuang and Yang Zixuan were exchanging their thoughts and experiences on the martial arts practice field, a huge figure stepped across the courtyard and ran in. Just after entering the martial arts practice field, his hearty laughter sounded out. Ha ha! Second brother, third brother. It's been a long time since I saw you. I missed you guys so much. Wang Yuan rushed to Jian Wushuang and Yang Zixuan. Big brother. Jian Wushuang and Yang Zixuan stood up, with a hint of smile on their faces. Wang Yuan ran over to them, and gave both Yang Zixuan and Jian Wushuang a big hug. Second brother. How does your repaired arm feel? Wang Yuan looked at Yang Zixuan and asked. Not bad. Yang Zixuan moved his left arm. His left arm had been cut off. Later Wine Master obtained a purple fire body-shaping elixir from alchemy school and repaired his arm with it. The repaired arm was almost the exact same as the original one. Third brother. Wang Yuan looked over to Jian Wushuang. 1 month ago, I heard that you were killed by a man named Tan Feng, and he took your body to the Holy Emperor Palace for a reward. I didn't believe it at that time. I would never believe that you would die so easily. Looks like I'm right. Ha! It was just a cover. Jian Wushuang smiled. Tan Feng has already been killed by me. Oh! Wang Yuan's expression changed. I heard that Tan Feng was an expert of the Saint Realm with great strength, and even mastered domain. You could kill him, my brother? Gee, that's awesome. Jian Wushuang shrugged casually. Well, we can hardly get together, so we must have a drink today. I was going to drink with third brother before, but he said we need to wait for you to drink together. Yang Zixuan said. I'm afraid we don't have time to drink. Wang Yuan shook his head, and his face stiffened. The reason why I came here today is to discuss something really urgent with you and Wine Master. It is better since third brother is also here. What is the matter? Jian Wushuang and Yang Zixuan looked at Wang Yuan immediately. It is about little sister, Wang Yuan said with a low voice. Little sister? Jian Wushuang's eyes turned cold immediately. When he was still in Tianzong dynasty, Jian Wushuang had heard from Wang Yuan that Su Rou was in a very special position in Ice Nether Valley. The master behind her might do something harmful to her. Jian Wushuang was very concerned about it. But at that time his strength was too weak and he was not certain whether Master would be against little sister. So he could do nothing but let Wang Yuan take care of Su Rou. Now, since Wang Yuan came to them for Su Rou, something must have happened to her. Not long ago, Yi Chan, the master of Ice Nether Valley, sent invitations to all the powerful forces in Nanyang continent. 10 days later, he and little sister will hold their wedding ceremony in Ice Nether Valley. What? Wedding? Jian Wushuang and Yang Zixuan were both startled. This is the invitation card that Yi Chun sent to all the sections. You can have a look. Wang Yuan took out an invitation card. Jian Wushuang and Yang Zixuan gave it a quick browse. Sure enough, it was an invitation for the experts of all the clans to attend the wedding ceremony in 10 days. Little sister is marrying Yi Chan? Is she doing this willingly? Jian Wushuang asked. I suppose she is. Wang Yuan nodded. You guys may not know yet, but little sister is an orphan. Her clan was massacred when she was very little, and she was taken by the enemy. The Yichen happened to pass by and rescued her, and even avenged her by eliminating the people that killed her family. Ever since then, little sister has been with Yi Chun. Before she met us, she considered Yi Chun as her only family, and no one could take his place from little sister. So if Yi Chun said that he wanted to marry her, she would probably not reject him. Jian Wushuang and Yang Zixuan both frowned. Since little sister was willing to perform the wedding without being threatened, they could not do anything other than send their blessings. If that's all, I wouldn't say anything, as long as he treats little sister well with all his heart. However, I found out something strange not long ago, Wang Yuan said solemnly. Something strange? What is it? Jian Wushuang asked. I performed some investigations and found out that the force that destroyed little sister's whole clan had been in contact with Ice Nether Valley previously, Wang Yuan said. What? Jian Wushuang and Yang Zixuan looked at Wang Yuan immediately. I looked into it and found out that Blissful Island, the power that eliminated little sister's clan, had been in close contact with Ice Nether Valley, and both little sister's clan and Blissful Island were in a middle-sized empire. Why would a person with such a prominent status like Yi Chun go there for no reason and happen to rescue little sister? Wang Yuan narrated. I felt that this was strange at that time, and so I asked my people to investigate it. I finally received some information a few days ago. What is it? Jian Wushuang said in a low voice. The result is, Blissful Island was an affiliated power with Ice Nether Valley. It was Ice Nether Valley that ordered Blissful Island to eliminate little sister's clan, and the one who gave the order was probably Master Yi Chun, Wang Yuan said. Hearing this, Jian Wushuang and Yang Zixuan were both astonished. Is this true? Jian Wushuang's eyes turned cold immediately. I confirmed it over and over, and it was really an order given by Ice Nether Valley, Wang Yuan said. As far as I know, our little sister has a very special body attribute and can achieve great things. Yi Chun may be interested in this. So he asked Blissful Island to slaughter little sister's family and saved little sister himself. He also performed revenge for her to make her deeply grateful to him so that she would obey anything he said. What a good strategy! And what it cost him was not much. Just Blissful Island, a little force. Jian Wushuang's and Yang Zixuan's eyes turned cold in an instant. Brother Yuan, do you have any evidence of this? Jian Wushuang asked. Of course I have the evidence. Wang Yuan smiled coldly, and then he waved his hand to reveal a stack of information reports gathered by Alchemy School. Jian Wushuang and Yang Zixuan looked through these reports, and Jian Wushuang's face became sullen instantly. There was indeed actual evidence. It was confirmed that Ice Nether Valley gave the order to eliminate little sister's clan, and that Yi Chun was definitely involved with it. Finding out this matter is the reason why I called and informed you, Wang Yuan said. Little sister doesn't know this, does she? Jian Wushuang asked coldly. Of course she doesn't. How could she want to marry Yi Chun if she knew this? Wang Yuan said. Third brother, what are you going to do? Wang Yuan looked over to Jian Wushuang. What am I going to do? It's simple. I will stop the wedding and kill Yi Chun. If Ice Nether Valley stands in my way, I will eliminate it too. Jian Wushuang's voice was frozen with a frightening coldness in his eyes. Besides his father Jian Nantian, Jian Wushuang cared for his brothers and sister most in this world. Jian Wushuang regarded his little sister Su Ro as his biological sister. So how could him let her be bullied like this? I'm also going to follow you. Yang Zishuan nodded, also with great coldness in his eyes. We think the same. We brothers must cause chaos on the wedding 10 days later for little sister. Wang Yuan smiled and stretched out his fist. Jian Wushuang and Yang Zishuan looked at each other, and then also put forward their fists. The three fists bumped together. In an attic in Ditian Prefecture. You are planning to destroy the wedding in Ice Nether Valley in 10 days? And you want my help? Wine Master raised his eyebrows and looked over at Jian Wushuang and his brothers. Yes. We really hope you can give us a hand, Master. Yang Zishuan said solemnly. Wang Yuan and Jian Wushuang also looked at Wine Master with expectation. After all, Ice Nether Valley was one of the 3 valleys in Nanyang Continent, which was even more powerful than Wilderness Sword Sect and Daluo Heaven Sect. Only Alchemy School and Holy Emperor Palace could possibly defeat it in the whole Nanyang Continent. So it was impossible to cause trouble at the sect with merely Jian Wushuang and Yang Zishuan. And Wang Yuan. Although Wang Yuan was the young master of the Alchemy School, there were too many restrictions in Alchemy School, so he couldn't bring many experts. Therefore, they could only use their own influence to invite some experts, and the first person they invited was Wine Master. Holding a pot of wine and swirling it slowly, the Wine Master murmured, Ice Nether Valley. One of the 3 valleys, and the strongest of them, is not easy to be messed. But it will really be interesting if we can stop the wedding and humiliate them. So you agree to help us? Wang Yuan quickly asked. Wine Master smiled slightly, but looked over to Yang Zishuan. My disciple has never asked anything from me since he called me master, so how can I say no? However, Ice Nether Valley has great strength. So only counting on us to create chaos at the wedding is not enough. We have to find other people for help. No sooner had Wine Master finished his words. Whoosh, whoosh, 2 figures suddenly appeared in the attic. One of the 2 figures was a strong and handsome middle-aged man, and the other was a woman with a natural and graceful appearance. Wind and Rain Immortals? Looking at the 2 people who appeared in the attic, a slight smile emerged on Wine Master's face. Wine Master, the middle-aged man and the graceful woman said.